What's up, guys? This is Chris Pabs, and you are watching AO Mecha.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of AO Mecha Live. My name is Ariel, and tonight, this Saturday evening here in Toronto, we have Chris Pabalate, aka Chris Pabs, joining us. He's all the way from Chicago in the US of A. We're gonna talk with him in a bit, but first of all, guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Just want to do a quick shout out to everybody that has been joining us in the chat. Oh my god, so many people coming in, rolling in right now. We have Ben, we have Kyle, Ty Furious, look at you guys, Manny, what up? Edsel and Lawson Chow here. Guys, welcome to the show over at Twitch. We have Hero, we have Luis, ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo? Our Puerto Rican friend here, Wild Steak, Gem Wolf, Twitch user, and Mecha Skyfish joining us on Twitch. So a little bit of brief about our guest tonight. Number one, awesome builder. Some of his first work that I saw, I believe is around when he was doing the Samurai one. It was like a resin kit with the 3 swords, and the name escapes me all the time. That one was cool. Then I started following him, and then his name keeps popping up in shows that I was following through Tim, Child of Mecha, from Mechanism. He also does his show Critical Builds along with the other guys that I've almost featured everybody from their shows on my show, which is kind of awesome. I love it. But before we get further into that, last week, again, this week just passed, we've been building the MGEX Unicorn. It's our first backlog builder episodes builds, and it's gonna be finishing up hopefully this coming week on Monday. If we don't finish it, we'll probably do the review on Wednesdays. But let's see what else. I didn't get a chance to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays last week just because of some stuff that I'm working on. I got tied up. But this week coming up on Tuesday, we're picking up a new Twitch stream, which will be doing some drawing and designing. So that's going to be fun. And Thursday is a launch of one of our new shows that I've been working on in collaboration with some of my friends here. So hopefully everything works out and we get that show on the road. But if not, I will let you know. More info on that to come in the socials. But anyways, this show, Feature Builder, as you guys know, Saturday nights here at AO Mecha Live, we talk with awesome builders from all over the world. We get the chance to feature some of their work, talk about, you know, what they're up to, what they're doing, and get some POVs and maybe learn a thing or two from our guests. So why don't we bring in Chris? Let's see if he's ready. Chris, you're good, right? Let's bring Chris in. Chris! Woo!
What's up?
Welcome to AO Mecha Live. How's it going?
What's up, man? It's about damn time, first of all. Thank you. I really wish I could string words as long and as quickly as you could, because that was a lot of words, man.
A lot of words. That's just me warming up, man. We're gonna have a lot of words tonight. And you stream. You could talk too, man. I've seen you bedazzle them language and words and.
No, bro. Half the time my words are entangled in oohs and ahs and ums. So proceed for not doing any of that.
Don't worry. Well, I guess when you start stuttering, I'll just be like, so that is it for Chris Pabs, guys. Join us next time for part 3 of Chris Pabs show. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm great, dude. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting me on the show, and hopefully everybody's having a good Saturday so far.
I know it's getting cold here. I know it's supposed to be winter, but like it got chilly today. I don't know how Chicago weather's like these days.
It's always chilly. Always chilly up until May, and then all of a sudden it jumps up by 70 degrees and it's hot and you can't stand it, and it just envelops you in this blanket of heat and humidity. It's wonderfully terrible. So.
A winter wonderland. Well, Chicago is coined what, the windy city? Is that what the phrase is for you guys?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, some people call it the shootout city too, but but yeah, it's very windy, mostly because of the wind tunnels all over the city. But you know, I mean, I hardly ever spend any time in the city anymore, so what do I know?
Awesome. Well, before we get to further into the show and tell us, because we have a lot of cool images that Chris has provided here, a lot of his works. We got a chance to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of his community, or rather our hobby community, his involvement, that his shows that he streams on. But for those people, I guess, who don't know you too well or want to get to know a little bit about you, do you mind doing a little kind of quick introduction, maybe a little brief about who Chris Pabs is, what he does, and some stuff about the hobby?
Sure, why not? My name is Chris Pabs. I am 145 pounds of pure Asian. I like long walks on the beach, sunsets, also reading a good book in front of no, honestly, just kidding.
You're already a man after my heart, man. Like,
so when people, my name is Chris Pabalate. People know me more as Chris Pabs or Pabs or Pabby, or I don't know. People have just used the Pabs thing in my name and just taken it into all sorts of different directions. I've been in the hobby more seriously since around about 2016, but I've been building pretty much all my life as a little kid, being influenced in the super robo genre growing up, kind of being influenced by all of that. And I mean, what else is there for me to say after that? You guys can see me on shows like Mechanisms and Critical Builds, and I guess right now AO Mecha. So
awesome. Oh, that's good. So what do you do? Do you mind if I ask what do you do for a living?
Yeah, sure. I am a 3D modeler for a sports apparel company. So if you guys have ever seen those websites where you are able to customize kind of clothing or shoes with different patterns and stuff like that, like the 3D models that you see on there are some of the things I make. I've also been a graphic designer for about 14 or 15 years now. Yes. And I also do motion graphics. All of that kind of media stuff is kind of my forte.
Nice. Do you find that a lot of what you do translates to the hobby and vice versa kind of deal?
Initially, no. I mean, when we first start off, you don't really want to mix your professional life with your hobby, because it's like I do this for 8 hours a day. I don't want to then sit down and try to relate what I did for 8 hours into something I want to enjoy for a couple of hours. Right. But lately, with kind of trying to apply new ideas to things and kind of color schemes and stuff like that, color theory has become a very important thing for me. Also, 3D modeling has become a kind of a very important part of I guess the new way of scratch building. I know that's a very controversial thing to say, but right. It's still I think it's a valid thing. F you, Tim. So that's it's becoming more integrated, whether or not I wanted to or not. So
okay, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, like I can't wait to look at some of your work here. But before we get to that, again, thank you, Chris, for joining us. Let's see what's going on at the streams here. We got Meg joining us all the way from the West Coast. She's saying, hey. Let's see here. Mecha Skyfish is saying resin. He's summoning the resins.
Yeah, so if anybody doesn't understand the joke, so whenever somebody says resin on any streams, I somehow magically pop up. Don't ask me how. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I might be sitting in the toilet or eating. All of a sudden, I'm just in front of the computer typing something up. Like, how did this happen?
Exactly. Well, thank you for who gave me that idea. Like, if you type in Google resin, the first picture would be Chris's face, followed by the definition. So. Everybody else on YouTube Live, just want to say hi to everybody there. We have Kyle H. We have Miguel here, who's ready to bump some resin lines. He's always here. He's hassling. He's always like yelling stuff at us. What's going on? Sean Wiles, I've got the digestives. There we go. Mech Dio is just saying cringe. Yes, we're gonna have a lot of like sound effects coming up for you guys. 3-star. Hey, bro builder. Let's see here. And welcome, Chris. Yeah, exactly. The boys are here. Manny's here. We have Greg Blair joining us. Hey, Pabs. Hey, Ariel. Tom L. Ew, Meg. That's from Manny. What did I just read? Charles Apprentice is here too. Pabs. It's like one of those
What
like
up,
you know. Stone freaking cold right there, lol sup Manny. So much neon on my screen. Yeah, that's that's the first thing
This
I
was
said to Chris.
unplanned.
Unplanned.
Yeah, this was
like,
unplanned.
I looked at his
We
screen,
jumped
like,
in.
yeah. We jumped into this color.
Are we in the same room? What's going on?
Don't tell him that. Chris, lower your volume. I could hear you from here. That's great.
I got you.
All right, thanks, man. Without further ado, why don't we go? What are you ready for? Like some show and tell with these guys here?
I guess.
Well, you have no choice now.
Regardless of no, yeah, let's do it.
We have a lot of photos gathered here, and I can't wait to talk on each one of them. But I guess Chris, if you don't mind, maybe just guide us through some of the next couple of photos on the slide, and I'll just cycle through. Let me know if you want me to stop and then take a look. But up first is the Barbados here, and looking super fly. What do we got here? What's the story behind this?
So a lot of people might not know this, but this is both my worst build and my most treasured build. So I started building at a very kind of, I want to say kind of young age. Kind of, growing up in Asia, Gunpla has always been kind of a part of my childhood and my growing up. And so it's Super Robo, so it's always been kind of a thing for me. But I never really took it seriously. I would always just kind of snap things together and not even buy any tools, use nail clippers, use scissors, whatever it is I could find and put them together, not really worrying about nubs and stuff. But kind of as I grew older, and stuff like Gunpla kind of faded into my childhood, I found myself increasingly frustrated creatively, both in my professional career and kind of my everyday hobbies. And I kind of wanted to get back into doing something to help release my creativity. And initially, my then girlfriend, now my wife, wanted me to get into cosplay, kind of building props and stuff like that. And
you're gonna cosplay, because I'm thinking of what would Chris' character be like?
I make a really good I make a really good mid-90s Jackie Chan era, like kind of
I can see that
type guy. Yeah.
Great
I just have to wear like the Canadian tuxedo and the white the white sneakers, and I'm good to go, man.
You gotta look shocked all the time, and then fight.
I don't want to
trouble.
shock. Yeah. Pretty much that was pretty much it. It was really easy, but no, she wanted me to get into props and stuff. I figured that was a little bit too kind of pricey, so we were walking around at Barnes and Nobles and found like the Full Mechanics 100 Barbatos, and we kind of the gear started running in my head, thinking about my childhood. Right. I was like, well, why don't I just take one of these and kind of see what I can do with it. And not really kind of understanding the process and the works that go behind it, because I had previously tried to paint Gunpla and I failed miserably, and it just turned me off it for a very long time.
Do you remember? Well, obviously this is like one of your experienced paintings, but do you remember what type of paints and what type of method you were doing, but not successfully achieving from the sounds of it?
Yeah, so when I was kind of in, I guess I want to say high school or the end of high school, I was as a lot of people my age, we used to kind of go through forums, whether it be Gundams or anime or whatever it is you like. We used to go into forums and stuff like that, and I used to absolutely spend hours or days looking at going through forum posts of Japanese builders making these amazing builds, just absolutely beautiful, clean, not really understanding how all of the work that goes through it. And I wanted to recreate, kind of do all that stuff, see if I could build it myself. But back then, a lot of those builders were very kind of coy with talking to people about what or how to build or how to customize, how to paint. So I kind of just figured, what? F it, I'll do it myself. And I bought myself a pack of Gundam markers. I bought a very cheap HG Red Frame Astray and a HG 00 riser, I want to say.
And those are not cheap, man. I remember the prices on those. Cheap kits. Yeah, they're just just these guys.
went on like Hobby Link, bought those, waited like 3 or 4 or 6 weeks or whatever it was. They came in and I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. I'm going to make something amazing. I'm going to take these photos. They're going to be so great. And I failed miserably.
Man.
Absolutely miserably. I tried to apply like the Gundam marker to the plastic directly. I tried to, I don't know what I was trying to do, but it failed and it just turned me off it completely. Yeah, that was kind of like my first foray into painting, and it was a complete failure. And it took me like 14 years to get back on the painting horse, so to speak.
Oh man. Do you think that if you were somewhat like ballpark where you wanted to be, that you would have continued like painting and improving around that time, or were you still kind of like, I'll try it, I'll do it later kind of person?
My expectations back then were way too high. Were like astronomically impossible to achieve. I was like, I'm gonna do this thing that I saw some dude named Naoki, whatever. I'm gonna try this. I can make this. I'm sure I can do it. And it was just like, no matter what my results may have been at that time, I guarantee for sure I would have been very disappointed, and I think I still would have taken the same path where I would have taken this massive long break,
right?
And it just wouldn't have worked out, and and since that kind of information wasn't very prevalent, it was just, for me, it was like I give up, and it's kind of why I do things the way I do now. So.
That's awesome. And I think like everybody has a start, right? And humble beginnings and all that stuff, where they either stop, but like from your case, you picked it up just a little bit later. I think a lot of people are like that too, because like I could relate in a way that around I think the same time you were probably experimenting with Gundam is like when I got into it, and then I didn't know as well like what I was doing, so it's just like snap, build, collect, and then now what? And then they just became like toys to me rather than art, like model kits that we appreciate more so later on, right? So I have the Barbados right here on the screen. Do you want to talk a little bit about your build here?
Sure. I had no idea what I was doing with this build. I just wanted to make something. I wanted to make something absolutely not like I wanted. Back then, I was very much into the like all Gundams have to be exactly the same color that they should be on the show. Any other color should be not on my screen. I don't want it. Don't show this to me. That was my thought process going into this. It has to be like screen accurate or nothing at all.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I really wanted to try a bunch of things. I mean, I had been watching videos left and right, so information was a lot more available at this point. Obviously, this is what 2016. I really wanted to try to create something that didn't look exactly out of the box, but just looked better, or at least, if anything, looked like it was the promotional image on the box,
right?
Because it looks great on that thing, but once you put it together, you're like, oh no, it's like weird and plasticky and toy.
You don't want it to just be like. It's also the shine too. Like if you don't apply anything to it, even top coat, like you get that plastic like light reflection, and you go like, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. So it was my first attempt at painting anything. So at this point, my wife, oh god, my bless her soul, bought me an airbrush, and
nice.
I had no idea what to do with it. I was like, I don't know how to mess with this. So basically, I started out with rattle cans. So this was all rattle cans. I believe I had gone to Hobby Lobby. Please don't shop there. And bought like a bunch of spray cans and like testers cans and stuff like that, just to try to recreate something. And this was all just trying out different things that I had seen people do online. So dry brushing the frame and trying to and failing at a candy coat on the blue. If there's a picture on there with like a close up of the chest where you can see I had oversprayed everything, and there was definite pooling all over the place.
You mean this guy right here? Like this little guy right here?
Oh gosh, that is a terrible photo. You can see all of the pooling all over that left part of the chest. It was it was a nightmare, but it helped to teach me the things that I should be avoiding, and it really helped me kind of establish that doing this, customizing kits or painting kits, is a lot more work than how people just take photos of their finished custom builds and leave it at that. So
Yes.
yeah, this set a precedent for me that you're going to have to put in a lot more effort and a lot more work into it. Now, saying that, this build is still proudly displayed by my wife in our living room shelf as my very first build. She refuses to let me fix it. She refuses to let me put it away. It's still proudly on her shelf. She still has it, and she won't let me touch it. So
awesome. Well, everything seems to be just going up after this one. We're gonna get to the next images, but before we get to that, Chris, awesome story, and thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
People on the Twitch here, we have Hero. He's asking, he's just saying stuff. Also getting my wing Verka sometime next week. Yeah, same, a huge amount of time that I didn't build when I was a kid. Just reminiscing again for like people taking breaks, starting, break, and then picking it up later on. And I think, again, there was a big surge in the last, I would say between 2015 on. I've been getting like a lot of average of like when people are getting back into it. I think also with the big exposure of like the new Gundam series on YouTube to North America, more stores are popping up. So that's always cool. YouTube is booming. We have a lot of people on the chat right now. I'm just gonna read a couple of lines here. First off, guys, thank you for tuning in. Tonight is a feature builder episode. We're joined by Chris Pabs, the guy on my screen, aka Naoki, aka the Resin Whisperer. What the frig is a wizard? Okay.
I think that's a mistype. I believe it's Resin Sniffer.
There we go. Let's see here. Just wanted to say hi to everybody that's tuning in. I think I said hi to Gunplarazzi. It's here. Chris is the best name ever.
Isn't it just? It's absolutely the best name.
It's okay.
I can't front. He just rolls off the tongue.
Let's see here. Manny, 26 people in here. Oh, awesome. We got a lot of. It's lively tonight. Chris Howe, Christopher, Christotanopoli. Oh my god, that's from Brian here. Oh, and Tim is here, Child of Mecha. Welcome, Tim. How's it going? He's a guy that does stuff. He paints stuff. He talks online, and then he's like, "This is how you do stuff, right?" He tells you what to do and things, you know.
I heard he was taken. I heard that man was taken to Isengard at some point. I don't know what that means.
I'm just thinking of like all the hobbits that are with him going to Isengard. It's like they're carrying like big boxes of like gunpla and all that. I know Ariel, but who's the other guy? Some no name seems like it. Yeah, I know. I've ran out of like my pool list. I'm scraping the barrel here, Tim. Sorry about that.
The absolute barrel. The resin barrel.
It's Pabby baby. There we go for Brian. Typhurious, okay, is here. Let's see here. Z is here as well. Yo, what up, all you amazing and supportive friends? I like how there's a question mark in friends on that one. Like, yeah, like supportive. Continuing on, we got Jonlin here. Yes, the resin wizard. Huzzah! Huzzah! You're the wizard now, resin wizard. There we go.
Confusing me with Brian for some reason.
I think she's saying hi to Brian though, just so that we could put that.
I think that's exactly what she's doing. She's saying, "Hey Brian, what's up?"
Wait, is that Naoki? Oh man, if I have Naoki in my show, I want him to be outside. I want him to be like outside and taking like up shots of him and the sky, and that's all he has to do. He just has to stand there and look pretty, kind of deal.
I think people are mistaking what Naoki's trying to do. He's trying to take upskirt shots.
Exactly. No, I get it. I appreciate it. It's a lost art. It is a freaking lost art. Speaking of lost art, why don't we continue? We have a lot to cover here, and I can't wait to get to the next one. This one, this is Zabi. Very interesting because like the first thing I noticed here, obviously custom colors, but it's the LED or that light thing that you have on the head.
Yeah, so this Sazabi also is another very ambitious project. So if you guys hadn't noticed in the one build I've shown so far, I guess, I'm very ambitious when it comes to builds. So this had come straight after kind of joining a local community here called the Gunpla Builders of Chicago. So it's a Facebook community based around a group of builders based in Chicago. Really cool guys. I met a lot of really cool friends and forever brothers like Zashan, aka Gunpla Ronin, Z, Ross, who is the admin and the owner of Gunpla Builders Chicago. Those guys kind of pushed me and kind of showed me that even if you are ambitious, you can still create something that might not reach that level, but it can definitely help you start to get there. And this Sazabi was proof of that. I had one recent. I mean, I didn't want to show that build, but you guys can actually see it just slightly over here, like the feet of it. So I had won a competition for the Gunpla Builds of Chicago, and it put me on like this very weird winner's high, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy this Sazabi. I'm gonna buy this $110 Sazabi because that's how much it was at the time. $110 Sazabi.
It still is. No, it still is expensive.
Is it still that expensive?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I bought it, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do so much to it. I'm gonna, screw the green LEDs. I'm gonna add this purple one, and I'm gonna make it purple and black, and it's gonna look edgy as hell. And I'm gonna do all this stuff to it. Use metal parts for the first time in this. Use decals for the first time on this thing. And it was just, I just wanted to really create something cool and kind of I wanted something to have shelf presence, because that was one of the things I had noticed about if you had gone to like hobby towns and stuff. Yes, it was something that I had noticed going to hobby towns. The things that caught my eye in their display cases with stuff like builds is do these things have shelf presence? And that's exactly what I kind of wanted to have with this guy.
Have you built master grades? Well, I guess the Barbados was a master grade, I'm assuming, or was that a high grade? Sorry, full mechanics.
That was the full mechanics.
Full mechanics. So this one here, is this one of your first master grades?
This was probably my third or fourth one, but my first fully painted. Second fully painted master grade.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and this is where the purple love started, honestly.
Looks great, by the way. Love the color separation on this one, especially with this guy right here with your bling. You totally like decked this guy out like Mr. T. Someone over here in the chat was just saying like, I'm getting a Mr. T vibe from this build, and that's from Miguel.
I didn't realize this at the time, but I did also give this a very LA Lakers vibe with the gold and the purple and the black. It was like people were saying this to me as I was building. I was like, I didn't even realize as I was building this. Oh, damn,
you know what? If you had a little bit more yellow, but like the accent is like, I mean, the accent is there, but like, yeah, a little splash of yellow on the chest, boom, trophy winner right here. You're gonna play for the playoffs right away.
Yeah, and this is kind of like, if you noticed with the Barbados, like in that previous shot, like I was not very comfortable with color separation and masking. You can kind of see where that started for me here. So the shoulders specifically, where kind of you can see I started to really kind of mess with the thought. If I use this tape, I can make things different colors. Like maybe
revelations are kicking in your head.
Yeah. Like maybe I shouldn't be afraid to do that and actually give it a shot and see what happens. And this is kind of where that starts. And maybe I could have maybe done more. But it definitely set me on kind of that path of masking purgatory / hell.
Now, when you're painting, obviously you're not using the airbrush. Are you still using any cans at this point, or have you completely now transitioned into like airbrush when you're working on this?
With this thing, it was. I'm trying to remember. I believe this was mostly airbrush. Like I at this point, I had kind of figured out how to use an airbrush. So actually, funny story about that. So when I first had the airbrush, and this is why I didn't use it on the Barbados, and I didn't want to tell this story, but you know what? This is AO Mecha.
There we go. Yeah, like it's unscripted. Let's just go with it. If you want to tell us about that naked story at that one time,
that was between you and me. All right, in the back room.
Okay. All right. Hey man, it was a fun story. Get a cream for that. You're gonna need it.
Yes. Gosh. I can't believe I did with that. Anyway, so as I said before, my wife bought me that airbrush, and I was very, with a lot of people, I was very intimidated by it. I didn't know how to use it, how it works, and as I tried to kind of have the bravery to use this thing, I decided, let's go to this Hobby Lobby again. Please don't show the Hobby Lobby. I went ahead and bought
this build is brought to you by Hobby Lobby. Don't forget to shop there, guys. Endorsed by Chris Pabs here.
God, no, please don't. I bought these little testers enamel.
Yes. Okay.
paints.
Okay.
Right? Everybody knows what these are.
Everybody
Cheap.
has. I still use it one from time to time, but yeah, I mean, it's paint, right?
Exactly. And I wanted to, I was like, you know what? I mean, this has to be here for a reason. I mean, I'm sure you can put this in an airbrush, right? So I bought I bought a bunch of those, and then I bought a very cheap Iron Man. Like at the time, Avengers was out, right? I believe Avengers: Age of Ultron. I bought one of those super cheap toys that you can get from the supermarket or Walmart or something like that. And I went in there and I put like a bunch of like metallic red in the cup, no thinner. And I went to town. I started going in town, and as I was doing it, I was like, "What is that smell?" And I was like, "I don't. My wife isn't cooking anything. I don't like. What is going on?" And I look at my compressor, and my compressor is smoking.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's working double time to get that thing out there.
It's full on puffing this very thick white smoke, and I was like, "Holy cow! I don't think that's supposed to be happening." And so immediately just turned everything off. I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I'm just gonna leave this alone. I think I need to do more research. But for a very long time, it terrified me to use an airbrush.
Oh my god!
And then it wasn't up until the Sotheby, like maybe almost a full year later. I want to say I built this in 2017.
Right.
It wasn't until a full year later where I was like, let's try this again, but let's apply some of the things I had finally learned from previous builds and see if we can create something uniquely my own. And this is kind of what I came up with.
It turned out awesome. Is this for a competition, or is this like still just part of your build experience kind of thing?
This was just something for me. This was just something I wanted to build and again kind of see if I can kind of get my ambition onto a kit. Again, like
how are you feeling now that you've completed the Sotheby? Do you recall some of like the first time you stopped painting and saying, all right, F it, it's done, and to a point where like, are you satisfied with it? Like, what are some of your initial thoughts and like your post reactions to it?
So initial reaction was, holy cow, this is great. I can't wait to show this to people. I can't wait to show Z and Ross. I can't wait. This is going to be the best thing ever. That was my initial reaction. A couple of weeks later, kind of looking at it, there were things I wish I could have done. Like definitely I could have done some color separation on that purple. While the purple is great and it looks striking on the black, I feel like I could have done way more separation. It's very blocky, and also please don't make the mistake I did and use black. This is all very black. It drowns out a lot of your detail. If you want to go for a dark color, go for a dark gray. Do separate shades of gray. And I can kind of forgive myself since this is kind of my first forays into it. But don't be afraid to mask. Masking is very important, and this is how you get the color separation that you should be getting. And me being intimidated and being afraid of it, it shows in this build. And again, This is another build I still have
on display, kind of thing.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's still here. I called it the Sotheby Ver LK because my wife was like, make it purple and black, and I was like, that was your idea until I just took it, because now that's my idea. So
it's a collaboration kind of thing here, like idea and execution. Really well done. Speaking of execution, the next couple of builds here kind of interesting. We're getting into what I want to say is like kit bashing and maybe customization.
Yeah, so for those that have this kind of weird perception of me, I build more than just resin. And this was
really okay. This is not what the show is about. Cut it. We're done here. More than resin? What the hell? Didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, so this was actually one of my first commissions from cool. Mr. Gunpla Ronin, Mr. Z.
Mr. Z, is he in the house? I think I see him there because Manny is a good friend. Because Manny isn't a good friend. Oh, they're all chatting over here about like how Manny didn't like Miguel's post and he's being a little witch about it, and Z has to step in now and kind of like be mommy and daddy to these guys. So Papa Z commissioned you for this guy here.
He did, yeah. So one of my very first commissions, he wanted to take the HG Hekaja from Iron Blooded Orphans and just wanted to make
Yes.
it look better. He didn't really give me a direction. He was like, I just want it to look better. I don't like this thing. I want to like this thing. That was his direction. And he gave me this direction in a random Dunkin' Donuts parking lot in Chicago, the Chicago suburbs.
Was it like in the back alley, kind of like, hey, you kid, come over here, drop something in front of you, like, hey, make it awesome, and then just drives away. That's a scenario that's playing in my head right now for that.
Pretty much, yeah. So he had his kids in the car. He was like, I gotta go. All right, this is the only direction I'll give you on this thing. Please build it, make it look cool. My kids are in the car. I'm out. And that was kind of like I sat there in the middle, or I stood there in the middle of a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, holding this HG Hekaja box in my hand. Like, what do I do with this thing now?
Nice.
So yeah, this is kind of what I kind of came up with. So yeah, this was my, I don't want to say my first foray into it, but one of the very first ones where I was like, I think I can take a kit and make it look like it's still the same kit, but just an evolved version. And that's kind of what I do with a lot of my kit bashes, scarce as they may be, because I still do. You guys will see in a couple of builds later, but I do still do kit bashes. But my philosophy isn't I want to take this thing and make it into something different. I want to take this thing and I want it to evolve further, so it still has the characteristics of that build, but still look
Get the
better,
feel, like a silhouette might differ a bit, but like you'll like from a distance you're like, okay, that's an interesting kit, because like I'm seeing a lot of like concept here. Obviously the original kit is very curvy. You kind of added a lot of like angular shapes to this on the add-on. Do you remember the type of parts that you were like rummaging through to use for this for this kit?
Oh gosh, yeah. So those feet are actually from that HG00 that I bought in a rush back in the day.
Yeah.
those feet right there. Yeah, and then a lot of the other parts are like the HG IBO option parts, like on that the Barbatos elbow cannons or the forearm cannons that it has right there. I used a lot of you can't really see it in this photo, but metal parts. I used LEDs for the eyes, but did it in a way that it only shone through the edges
like
of the
slivers.
face.
Yeah,
Yes,
that is so cool.
Yeah, and then used the verniers from the Bandai option parts, and then kind of cut out the gimmicks that were on the shoulders, and just replaced them and tried to make it kind of unique in a way, or because I knew this was a space type mobile suit, and I wanted to kind of keep it that way, but at the same time I wanted to give it the option of if it were to land on anything and have gravity, it could still function, and that was kind of the idea of this build.
So you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna have that weird kind of like jester looking kickers. I'm gonna give this guy some proper feet right here.
There was just something strange about it. Also, I forgot to mention, I believe the side skirts were also the Master Grade Destiny side skirts. Like they look exactly the same, but I did change up the angularity of essentially took the side skirts of the Destiny and kind of reapplied it and mashed it together with its current side skirts. Again, I was trying to go for more of an evolution of the design and rather than a complete rework of it.
So for the head itself, I just want to, for me, I don't have this kit, but I'm kind of interested. Like the slivers here, is it actually clear, or did you cut it prior?
I cut it prior, so there is no gap. So if you look at that, the stock kit, like there's no gap there for anything. So once you put it on there, it's pretty. Yeah, the only gap is kind of like it's very superficial. So even if you put an LED in there, it's not going to shine through just because it's very tight. So I had to essentially extend the peg on that front face enough so that it would still fit in there snug, but just had enough of a gap where if I put an SMD LED in there, it would shine, but not like it wouldn't bleed so far down into the neck, but enough through the front of the eyes. So I had to make sure that there was some blockage in that neck.
Did you paint the inside black as well to like prevent like spillage?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's cycle through the rest of it, because like I want to get into like the actual details of this. I want to start with the legs here. So I noticed there was like scribing done now. There's a couple of plot plates from the looks of it here, and kit bashing and all that stuff. And what's this guy here? It's okay. We're not in
So
critical build, so we're not gonna
this is
we're not gonna get time to that.
no,
Scribing.
no, absolutely. No, it's fine. I'm happy that you actually pointed it out because this was before kind of my experience with epoxy putty. So I wasn't familiar at the time with the epoxy putty. I wasn't sure if that was something I wanted to kind of get into. And then even with scribing, this was kind of my my actual like very serious try at it. And even then, I actually used, if you guys don't know, Gunpla Rona's very favorite tool, the Tamiya Scriber 2, to make these scribe lines. So this wasn't a lot of firsts for me, but it was a lot of very serious tries for different techniques. And then eventually kind of getting to a point where I was like, all right, this looks pretty good. Let's see if we can take it any further.
I love the color choices, by the way, in this one. The red and white, to me, like, just gives it that, like sport, aggressive, like, fast feel to it. Like, not 100% red like the Sazabi, but, like, I love it when there's, like, that red and white combination, and I think it's really well done. And the gray being, like, the base color for most of it. This makes them pop out even more so. Like, when you were selecting your color choices, like, did you like have an inspiration, or did you get some kind of like feedback from Z where he wants to land this kit?
No, for some reason Z went on sabbatical and I didn't see him for like a good 4 to 6 weeks. I was like, I don't know where he went, but I don't know what to do with this thing. No, the red and the gray are very kind of established colors for fast kits, whether it's a sports car or a mecha, and it's kind of what I got from the Hecaja. But what I didn't understand about the Hecaja was why it was green and yellow. It was like, all right,
it's an intimidation factor, man. Like when you see a green and yellow kid, I just like, that guy doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna go over there and kick your ass, kind of.
Yeah, and you saw that with the design of this thing. So you saw the massive kind of the thrusters on the shoulders and the very aerodynamic head and kind of the lines on this thing are all over the place. And yeah, just the color scheme didn't make sense to me. So giving it a more traditional speed type color scheme, and then kind of replacing some of the aesthetics on it, like again those massive turbines on the shoulders, changing those up to verniers, kind of giving it the option of, if it needs to stop from a high speed thing, it can, because it has these verniers on the front.
Let's talk about the details here. I noticed like there are some of these bolt and like detail up parts. Are these screws, or are they from the detail out parts?
Those are minus molds. So those are actual metal detail up parts. They come in different shapes and sizes. I believe I got this one from CJ Hobby at the time. I just thought they looked, so the Hecaji has already those circular details on the chest, and I thought, let's improve that a little bit and describe some lines and I mean, very rough lines looking at it zoomed in, but I figured, why not just add a little bit of detail and make it look like as if, you can kind of open this thing up. So why not?
I just want to do a quick shout to Tom here. Hey Tom, go yourself, all right? I could swear anytime I want. You. All right, I love that guy. He just called me out for no beeping. I know, I totally forgot about that. My bad. So yeah, off. And that's how we treat our audience here at AO Mecha Live. We treat them with like respect, and we acknowledge that they exist. Except for that guy over there. Anyways. Awesome stuff. Like is this like one of your early scribes? Obviously, like what would you say is like one of your biggest lessons learned when you were using scribes, especially with that tool? I'm assuming you're using different tools now to scribe as well, right?
Yeah. So back then, I had only really seen kind of random posts here and there, whether it's on Pinterest or again forums. I was still looking at forums at this point. And the thing that I had learned, like the biggest lesson I had learned that nobody had really kind of pointed out to me was, you let the tool do all of the work. You don't apply the pressure that you think you need. If you're applying pressure, you're absolutely going to screw this up. It doesn't matter whether you do it on a flat surface or a curved surface or an uneven surface. If you apply an iota of pressure, you're doing it wrong. Let the pressure do it. Let the tool do its work. Yeah. Let it guide your hand. Let it guide you to the direction you need it to go. and then the scribe tape will hold your hand and the tool's hand for you. So that was kind of my biggest takeaway. I was like, looking at this thing now, and looking at it when I sent it to you, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got away with this. I am so sorry, Zashawn. So yeah.
Well, you got away with a lot of stuff. The undergate is one. I noticed like you kind of need this guy here. And this little guy here, very little. I mean, no one's gonna look underneath.
No one's gonna look that close. No. Truth be told, like this build really helped me kind of pay attention to stuff like that, like the details. Because again, looking at these photos now, I definitely noticed things like that. And even though I did try to attempt things like removing seam lines in the front of that forearm right there, it's still something that I was very not familiar with, and I should familiarize myself further and see where I can take it and see where I can go. So
awesome. Let's continue on with the rest of the build here, because like there's a lot of awesome shots. Unfortunately, we had to cut them down, but like they could probably find this in your Insta and in your socials as well for like more gallery of it, right? So guys, feel free to check him out on his socials. It's also in the description of this video, just underneath somewhere down there. And we're gonna get to all of that as well. Tekadan decals, like the red and white is so awesome on this one, man. I really dig it. Did you get these decals? Like I haven't seen this Japanese ones here. Are they from a third party?
I don't think so. It's been such a long time.
It's a long time, right? Yeah.
Actually, it was provided to me by Gundam and Zashawn. He was like, I want to use these decals. I was like, okay, sure. And I'm pretty sure those were the official ones. And I think that was the Tez was.
Yes. Okay. I'm starting to remember it now too, because like I love IBO. I think that is probably one of my favorite newer shows that has come up. That I fell in love with again, because like the frame was awesome, the kits are amazing, the storyline, I mean, like it's either you love it or you hate it, but overall it gave that different POV of what Gundam can be and what it can be about. So again, great job on this one. So what was the reaction when you completed it and then handing it off to Z when you guys met up again? I'm assuming he has it. I'm assuming he has it now, right? Or did you keep it? Like, you know what? It's mine now.
He does still actually own it. He does. I'm pretty sure he owns it. I've seen it as recently as 6 months ago, I want to say. I actually remember him picking it up for the first time, or seeing it for the first time. It was a build day for the Gunpla Builders of Chicago. Right. It was a very stormy day. Like it was like 12. It was like noon, but it was like super dark. It looked like it was nighttime. I had gone in there with like a shoe box or something like that, and I had it wrapped in towels, and then I actually printed these photos out for him to keep. And then I went in there, and he was in there. We kind of said hi, and then I went in there. I slammed the box on the table, and pulled. I took the lid and I threw it behind me, and then I kind of put it on the table. I turned on the LED, and then I kind of threw the pictures of the build. And I was like, "Here you go, man." And I want to think he really liked it, based on his reaction. And yeah, that kind of stuck with me.
That was it.
Like,
he just kind of look at it. He's like, did he go like ah? Did he scream like a little girl, like inside wise? Like, can you tell from his eyes that there was like water forming behind it? Like,
yeah, he was like. I think the first word he said was like, bro, like a very long bro, and then I don't think it left his line of sight for the rest of that build day.
Right on, yeah.
And yeah, so I want to say he liked it, and I thought that was mission accomplished. And then again, looking at it now, definitely one of the builds that taught me to pay attention to the details.
Awesome. Well, now we're gonna get more into details, but first off, let's do a quick break and say hi to everybody that's tuning in, guys over at Twitch, Hero, Gemwolf, Patapon1, and everybody else tuning in there. Hi, good evening, and thanks for tuning in. Over at YouTube, very, very lively bunch. We have everybody here, like from original cast of your shows that you stream with are most likely here, talking the shiz out of you guys. Plamo Build Report here is also like beeping hell. Yeah. I try not. It's weird. Like we were talking about this, Chris. Like that whole like when I'm on, I told you like you could square, do whatever you want, like any guest. Really, I'm not gonna like filter them. It should be as natural, and I want to get as personable as possible. But for me, for a good chunk of me, like I just can't get past the swearing part, you know. And when I talk and present, maybe it's the Filipino in me, the Asians. I don't know, but it's just like that's just
That
me.
is
But I
100% the Filipino upbringing. The moment you swore or said something that wasn't kosher, you would get the chinelas, like
the chinelas.
quick time.
Okay, so guys, can you guys say chinelas?
Apparently here for a lot of people it's chinclas. So I was like, no, that's chinelas.
No, it's chinelas, and it means slippers, like flip flops, flippity floppity flip flops, and that is the main weapon of our parents, especially my mom, and whoever else is probably taking care of us at that time. So it is a very very multi-functioning tool. It can deter people. It can definitely put people like to their places and just straight up smack them. It could reach stuff. I don't know about you, but like sometimes when we play soccer in Philippines, like the ball would get kicked so high up it gets stuck in a tree, or like in the basketball it gets stuck in that corner where the rim meets the backboard, and we would just bust out our chinelas and just start like whamming at it. And the stupid as being a kid, I don't know about if this is you, maybe it's just me and my friends, but like we would think it would be a boomerang and would come back at you because it's rubber. No, it goes. When you hit it, it reflects the other way. It goes to that neighbor's house, and now we have to go climb the fence, scale the house to go to the roof and get it, and the ball is still stuck in the tree. So,
with one flip flop.
With one flip flop. Sometimes
With
we say
one
F
flip
it.
Yeah, no, forget this. All right, let's get some.
Let's get going. Detail wise, Zaku is up. This one is a big one, isn't it?
This was my first perfect grade build.
Perfect grade.
Yeah, this was another commission, and this was one of the very first times where I was like, someone had wanted me to do a commission and they wanted to pay with another perfect grade. So
wow,
right, let's why not? Okay, sure. Again, another person who didn't give me a brief, didn't say anything, but other than make it look cool. I was like,
make it look cool. Did you make it look cool? So two things. One, I know I've seen this Zaku before in like a couple of websites, because I remember I was looking for Zaku, and yours, I remember that black and red. We're gonna get to the color images, and it was up there. So definitely this has been circulated for some time. How long ago did you build this, by the way? You remember?
Probably 4 years ago at this point.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe
okay.
5. I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
Let's talk details. Obviously, big project. Lots of stuff and experimentation. I see plot plates. I see some drilling of holes, gluing. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, like where did we go? Again, this is all about an evolution of the design. I'm not saying I can do better than how this was originally designed, but let's be honest, the PG Zaku did not exactly age very well.
Right.
So yeah, when was this thing released? 90?
Oh, it was like 90 something for sure. I don't know offhand what year it was, but earlier than 2000 for sure.
Exactly, and for anybody that doesn't remember what the PG Zaku looks like, it had like the massively long legs and the short arms, and then the torso was super short. And while the gimmicks were cool, it left a lot to be desired. So the brief essentially for me was just make it look cool. So for me it was just adding details. It was a lot of additive details on this thing. So the shield was one of the things that I really wanted to get to look to a point that it looked like it could be used for this thing, and again the scribe details and using subtractive details and
sorry, my mouse is like acting up. I wanted to trying to zoom in. Okay, there we go. Cool. No, it's like when you were talking about details and scribing, this is a lot different now than what you were doing with the other kit. So was there a style or like a pattern that you were trying to imitate or emulate in this one?
Not specifically emulate. I did want to start kind of working towards different widths. So if you look at this one, there's actually different widths of scribe lines. So this was kind of this I wouldn't say the start of it, but this was a development of it. Like I really wanted to kind of use tools actually for scribing. At this point I had stopped using the Tamiya scriber, and I wanted to kind of work on being being comfortable with using the right type of tools, using different widths, kind of, and then following a certain design rule and aspect of like the builds I'm going for, and making sure that they are aesthetically similar but different enough for each part. So if you're looking from the head all the way down to the toes, that while the design is the same, like the aesthetic is the aesthetic is different, but the aesthetic is the same, but the design is different.
Design is different, yeah. Like you basically just elevated what it originally is like. Cause like I remember looking at this, the form, the silhouette, the like the feel, like you from afar, you know it's a Zaku. The closer you are, the more like you get focusing on the detail. Like I didn't see it being like deviating too far away, but definitely as you mentioned, kind of like embellishing some of the details with additional parts and with your and the scribes as well, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like when you were selecting the color pattern for this one, you obviously were still experimenting with your previous build. Were you also trying something different for this kit?
Yeah. So again, so if you look at my previous builds, like I had started to get very comfortable with masking at this point. Masking out details, whether it's a recessed or an engraved piece. I started to get very comfortable with that, but then I started to kind of develop that further and start doing kind of fine detail masking. So the pinstripes and the striping, and kind of make sure that those are clean, and there's not a lot of cleanup required. There's still quite a bit there, but again, this was a lot of work in progress and a lot of development. So that's kind of the thought process behind this. And then obviously red and black. I mean, who doesn't like an edgy ass mobile suit?
I love that asymmetrical kind of like shoulder armor, where it's like one-off color, not balancing. But the Zaku itself already is like an asymmetrical design in regards to that. But like that just gives it that extra oomph. When every time I see that, when modelers do that custom paint job on that. So with this, I'm also seeing additional details like this guy, for example, the emblem for for the Xeon, using more metallics from the looks of it as well.
Nope, those are all just painted chrome.
Ooh, chrome. Okay. And did you thin it as well? Like you learned to thin chrome and.
So with this one, I believe this was actually alclad chrome. So this didn't require any thinning. But I did want to make sure that it wasn't so. The filaments weren't so large, so I wanted to go for a really kind of thin layer of chrome. But at the same time, I didn't want it to be too reflective. So for a lot of people who've seen my builds and I do a metallic finish, I try my best to stay away from a reflective type chrome, and I usually go for more a fine metallic finish. So this is kind of where that whole thing started. And so if you look there, you can kind of see that it's just reflective enough where you can see blocks of colors, but not enough that you can actually see
yourself and all that. Like right here at the spikes is a little bit here as well as nice. Right on. All right, let's continue.
This was actually a nightmare, honestly, to decal.
Why?
This is actually a good lesson. Buy good quality decals. So I was looking for perfect grade Zaku decals, and I came across several on eBay, and I was like, oh, these look all exactly the same, but one it was just a lot cheaper, so I went with the cheaper ones, and they were an absolute nightmare to put together.
Are they too thick? Do they break easy? Like what are we looking? What do you mean by like it wasn't great? Like what was wrong with them?
So yeah, putting them down, it's actually more noticeable than like some of the back ones. They were, and I didn't know this was possible, but you can have both thin and thick decals on the same sheet. So it's like a lot of the larger decals were just way too thick, and they took forever to come off of the decal backing. And then when you did, like they had massive, I can't remember what they're called, like the decal solution was just way too big, so you had to really work at it and make sure that they were nice and flat. And then I would have to kind of gloss coat that and then sand it down, then gloss coat again and sand it down, just to get that right kind of seamless texture between the decal and the piece. And it was just an absolute nightmare. And then there were pieces there were decals that were just way too thin. They were just super easy to break, so we just have to kind of
So these are the decals
adjust
that
as
you
well.
mentioned that were like heavy, like the big ones here, for example.
Super heavy, and yeah, so it's I'm
Mm.
actually quite glad that you zoomed in on this one, because this was one of
Yeah.
the ones that gave me the most trouble. This one was super thick, super thick. Like like when I had finished putting this on, and I was like, man, is this really a decal or is this a sticker? When I put
Yeah.
it on, and I let it settle, and I used my mark software mark setter, it still looked like it was this massive sticker thing with the pre-cut stuff, and you could see all of that, and it literally looked like I took a piece of plastic and created like a stepped version of this decal, and it looked
Right.
terrible. And I really had to kind of get to trying to fix this. So it was just this that was my biggest takeaway from this thing.
Well, how about let's talk about something that was successful. Like, what would you say is the most memorable part of completing this kit?
Most memorable part. The decals. No,
Yes.
no, for me it was the reception that it had gotten after I had built it. And I mean, not only the reaction from the person that I had built it for, but the online community. I feel like this was one of the first builds that really took really grabbed people's attention.
Yep.
I wasn't sure what it was, whether it was the paint scheme or it was the photographs I had taken, but this is kind of the establishment of I'm starting to kind of see what my style is. So I'm starting to kind of establish that art style. I'm starting to establish that identity. And this was kind of where it's starting to kind of come to fruition. All this hard work and all this kind of testing and failing and maybe succeeding. So
Right on. And we're going to get more into the story. Actually, let's back up a little bit here. Guys, if you guys are just tuning in, again, welcome to AO Mecha Live. We're joined here with Chris Paz. We were just talking about his failures in life. I meant adventures in...
so many.
Adventures in modeling.
So many failures in life.
I should have like freaking Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On playing in the background every time. It's like, well, here I effed up. And then it just kind of starts building up to like with the whole story. I think I'm gonna start putting that in future shows. But again, just want to say hi to everybody. Kyle, Rob. So Rob over here at Twitch. Gemwolf is saying that's huge. I'm assuming he's talking about your decal. It's like Pabs is...
is that what he was talking about? I was like, bro.
Over here at YouTube, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Manny, Bro Builder, Miguel, Ty Furious, Z, Darwin Hernandez, Slippers, the universal parenting tool. Absolutely.
Established since the Stone Age.
Since ever. There's a question here for you. Do you remember the decal brand for it that gave you some issues?
I actually do not. I want to say...
Don't say Mecha decals, because like people have already been saying Mecha decals.
No, definitely not. They were definitely not. No, they were definitely not Mecha decals, but they were like a very cheap brand, like really bad brand. Whether it was because of their age or not, I'm not really sure, but like just for some reason I just have very weird mixture of thick and thin decal application. It was just very strange.
Oh man. Also just want to say hi to everybody else here that's also in the chat. We have Colin, we have 3-star, we have Jojo. So Jojo's the person that asked for the brand. Charles Apprentice, Delphi decal or Simpro decals are good as well. In the Arms of the Angels, Sarah McLaughlin. Yes, we could do that too. Definitely. Don't forget, guys, with only 5 cents a day, you could help the starving modeler, Chris Pabs, continue and build.
I definitely need it. Give me some food. I'm hungry.
Rush is here too. Hey, it's Pabby Cakes. Hi all. Hi, Rush. We're gonna do a quick break. We're gonna be back with Chris Pabs here. We're gonna start talking about resin. I think from the looks of the next photos coming up. Again,
we're getting there.
We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. So guys, stay tuned. Check out this break commercial, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the stream, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far. I just want to let you guys know about an amazing online community that I'm part of, and it's called Side 6. Here, you will find like-minded modelers and hobbyists who enjoy the mecha and gunpla genre. We encourage posting of whips, projects, and tutorials to help each other move forward in our hobby and in our community. We are always open to new members of all skill levels, so come check us out at facebook.com/groups/side6. We also have an Instagram where we feature members' works, and you can find that at instagram.com/side6_mecha. For all new club information, resources, and news, you could check out our website at www.side6.club. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. All right, welcome back, guys. My name is Ariel, and here with us is Chris Pabs. Welcome back to AO Mecha Live. It's a feature builder episode. And yeah, we were just talking about some of the life lessons Chris has gone through in his adventures, his crazy, his wicked, amazing, weird adventure in Gunpla and hobby story time.
Yeah, I'm adventures in modeling.
There we go, adventures in and life. Let's see on the chat, guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. And if you guys are just tuning in, hello and thanks for tuning in. There's a redeem hydrate. I will take that from Rani. Thank you from Rani at Twitch. I also got slapped and hit with the feathered duster. Oh, feathered duster. That one has like a rod inside, so it's hidden. You think it's a soft thing that's gonna hit your face, but it's really the stick blunt. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh no. Pineapples. Greek Nakos is also joining us at Twitch. Welcome, brother. How's it going? Over on the YouTube live, guys. Welcome. Let's see here. We have Tom. We have Tex Marquise joining us. Hey, Armida, how's it going? Late but worth the hey, y'all. Happy New Year. Hopefully you had a good break. Type Furious, an hour in and we barely getting into the resin. Hey, we're getting there. Relax there, Speedy. This is a ramp up, dial up story. We got to go through like what they say is a tragic start. Like Batman had his parents killed. We had Superman, his whole planet got destroyed. And we have Chris Pabs. So
he sniffed some resin, learned some life lessons.
Life lessons coming on to that. Movie magic. Hey Tex. Let's see. It must be a Canadian thing. What? Yo, how did he change so fast? Oh yeah, I don't know how he changed. Tools and resins are coming up next. So we have a lot of stuff. Tools and resins.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't know what they're talking about. They're making fun of your hat.
What's wrong with my hat?
I don't know, man.
Alright, sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we get to resin? You want to go? Chris, are you ready for some resin story? The great adventures in resin?
I guess I'm ready for some resin.
Yeah, sorry. I pronounced that as if it's in the form of a question. It's not. Back again to the Barbados. This is, I think, the one of the earlier resin projects you worked on?
The first resin I had ever worked on. So, I've told the story before, but for those that haven't heard it, this was my first resin and a complete accident of a resin build. So I was kind of going through Facebook because that was the platform I was using at the time to kind of look at Gunpla, and I came across this build, this Barbados build. I was like, holy cow, this looks great. And I noticed that this person was like, oh, it's for sale. I was like, holy cow, this is a really good looking kit. I really want this kit. So I contacted the person, and I parted ways with my money, and then waited like 6 to 8 months because I didn't realize it was like
these are huge. Yeah, like they take a while to get.
They take a very long time. Mm-hmm.
So you got it, yeah.
I got it, and I was like, it was in this very small brown box, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, did I just get ripped off? Like, I opened it up, all this cheese fell out. I was like, what do I do with all this? And I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. I at this point, I was a little bit over my head because I didn't even realize that there was stuff like this out there.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So
did you go through? Sorry, did you go through eBay or did you go through the actual one of those websites that purchase like?
I did none of that. It was a Facebook page.
Just
Like,
a Facebook page?
A Facebook group. Yeah, it was
Wow.
a Facebook group, and I was like, oh, let me, I sent a message.
Even
like, hey, I want to buy
sketchier.
this kit.
I like that you live the life dangerously, man. Like Facebook ads, Craigslist ads, man. Those are hidden gems, I think, especially if you get the right kind of
Yeah,
of
I
dealer.
mean, when it comes to resins, I live my life a quarter of a resin cost at a time.
Oh my
So
god, man.
that's where I roll.
You either win by a paint job or a top coat. Winning is winning right there.
You never had your resin. Anyway, this was.
Go
this
get
was
my kit. Go fetch my kit.
You owe me a 10-second kit. No, but yeah, this was. I had no idea what I was doing. I felt like I was way in over my head.
Right.
And I did like a whole bunch of research. One of the best places, or one of the best people that really got me kind of familiarized with the method to do all this stuff was, at the time, his name was Vegeta2289. His name is now Henry McClellan. And what an absolute godsend. Because like I
Why
was
is
very
that name
close to
familiar? Vegeta.
Vegeta
Yeah.
2289. Yeah, he
That
was
name is so familiar.
hmm?
He used to stream like no he did reviews, right?
He did reviews. He did like a bunch of Gunpla YouTube.
He's like one of the
related
early,
stuff.
way early YouTubers, like pre Zach, pre Mecha
this is-
Gokatsu.
Like when you come up to me and go, "Hey, Chris, who are your favorite Gunpla YouTubers?" While I am a fan of Zach Aurelius and stuff like that. Like the names that come up for me are people like Vegeta2289 and Justinius builds.
Justinius,
Another person that really helped out with me trying to familiarize myself with resin was Justinius. So yeah, after watching those videos over and over again, and I kid you not, like I watched Henry's kind of resin talk through at least 30 or 40 times before I decided, okay, I think I understand this now. Let me give it a shot. And so like this is me just going through the process and trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. And I think it came off okay.
Yeah. Why don't we get to the build? Let's actually talk about putting it together. So you've done your research. You're now executing the build. You're doing your dry fit, test fit. 2 questions on this one. One, was there any warping? Because like usually there's like, depending on which print batch you get, I found anyways that from people and some of the resins that I do own, when you get like that one-off, like kind of like imperfection. And second, on that one thing that I know for resin is like getting them kind of like put together can be a bit of a challenge, because like you're either using tape, you're either using pin vices, or like even resin glue. So maybe if you don't mind, like getting us through, like how did you find your first build, and did you use any of those techniques to help you?
Never. Those are trade secrets. No, I'm kidding. No, honestly, going through this build, this is. If people ask me what is a good resin kit to start off with, this would not be one of them. This was a very unfair kit to start off with, just because it was absolutely like, even looking back, like what is it now, 3 or 4 years later, or 5. Putting this thing together was an absolute dream. There was no warp parts. It was very clean to build. There wasn't a lot of surface detail to work with this. So for those that don't know, this is the Extreme Squad Barbatos Lupus. And this thing was just absolutely amazing. I don't know if the quality stays or it has been the same since they've costed this again and again, but the first run of this thing was spectacular. And I mean, and still now, even with the amount of resin kits I've built, this is still the bar that I set for all of my builds. Like if I'm writing up a review on a resin kit, like is this as good as that Extreme Squad Barbatos Lupus first run? And a lot of the times my answer is always no, because it was this thing was that good.
Right on. So like, but when you were putting it together, like, did you actually use any type of like special glue? Did you like pin vise some of the areas?
I did do a lot of things to this thing. So I did pin. So for the forearms and those pieces right there, those were all pinned to make sure that those were set in a specific spot, so that the seam between the side forearms and that elbow, that white piece on the elbow and the wrist, was as minimal as possible. There are magnets, rare earth magnets on the shoulders right there. So you'll see in the later photos right now it's gray, but the Tekkadan logo part of the shoulders is magnetized, so I can just snap on and off whenever I needed to. Yep, and then other parts like the knees were also pinned and glued. So I use CA glue. I use my standard go-to glue is Bob Smith Industries, so BSI glue. And
those are the ones with like the cover that's like blue, purple, and like
it's a
white
purple
and all
tip.
that. Yes, okay, there we go.
See, this is, you know what, funny story actually. So with this glue, this is the glue that I used on this Barbatos, and I still have it like 3 or 4 or 5 years later. So I still have it. Look, I mean, you can see how chunked up the tip is, but so it's pretty old.
Do you find that you could use that as well to gap fill, or do you tend to use like putty when you're doing gap fills?
It depends on the size of the gap that I'm filling. If it's a small enough gap, usually I feel comfortable enough to use CA glue with or without baking powder. If it's a large enough gap, then sometimes putty might be the best way to go.
Right. Awesome. Okay, let's continue on with some of the images. Here's like kind of a before after shot of it, and we're gonna get to some like zoomed in details next here. But number one, awesome color, and you were going with the traditional color more or less, with like the Gundam primaries, if you will. At this point, like, have you figured out, or like, do you have like a preference in brand when it comes to like paints, like with your color?
Yeah, so not with this particular build, but nowadays I will forever shout to the top of the heavens on the quality and the finish I can get from Gaia Notes. Gaia Notes has just been an absolutely wonderful paint brand to use. If you guys aren't comfortable with lacquer, I completely understand, but the absolute like wonderness of using Gaia Notes, I just haven't been able to replicate with any other brand. So this has been
So Gaia
nowadays
is your go-to,
yeah. Nowadays,
this one here,
if you ever
did you
see
use?
any of my builds.
Sorry, for this one here, did you I guess like use like Mr. Colors, Krios, Tamiya, that kind of stuff? Or
yeah, this was actually almost all Mr. Color.
Mr. Color.
Yeah, so some of the most of it was Mr. Color. The whites on the Tekkadan logo were oh gosh, I can't remember what it was, but it was an enamel master models. I don't know.
Master models. Oh wow.
Yeah, I just picked up whatever I could because I needed like a white enamel, and it was actually a terrible choice because it was terrible. But I just needed something to reverse wash, and that almost did the trick. But yeah, this was mostly Mr. Color.
It looks really great too, and like it's very vibrant, especially the whites. The other Barbados at the back there, the other form, is that a resin kit as well, or is that just a custom?
That is just a custom. So that is just the regular Barbados Lupus. I kind of wish I had a stock one to kind of put it next to the resin kit, because I was just so astounded by the differences that this company had made to the same kit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to show like what the differences were, even though the other one is still a custom.
Nice. Why don't we go to the next custom? The next one up, well, it wasn't a custom, the next resin project, the Crossbone. I really dig this one too, and it's also a smaller kit. So the Crossbones by design is a lot smaller than the conventional kits. I think this one is like towering between like 13 to 14 meters in real life. And did you find that there's significant changes when you're working from like a master grade that is like 16 to 18 meters tall in real life, and then to the something smaller like this?
In terms of the amount of detail, no. I mean, the amount of details are exactly the same. It's the size of the detail where it counts. If you do a well enough job of bringing out those details in a certain way, it doesn't betray the fact that these things are tiny.
Right. Right.
And that's kind of what I wanted to bring out with this guy. And I like with the finished photos, you don't really get to see a lot of it, but this was a practice in making sure those details popped, whether big or small. And I really wanted to make sure that this thing did a good job, because this was a Christmas present for my wife. So I wanted to,
awesome!
yeah, I wanted to make sure it looked great on the shelf. So that was.
Is it why there's also purple on it again? Did she suggest the colors as well on this one? I'm starting to see a pattern here, man. If it's purple, she suggests it, or it's for her.
She was a big fan of purple, and then I kind of just adapted it, and it's become I guess it's almost like a signature color for me. I don't know if anybody notices, but a lot of my builds are purple. So
nice. It looks really great. So like again, with making colors pop, like what do you mean by that? Like what would you emphasize and what would you focus on when you're trying to make things pop?
So the goal for the color schemes for me is color flow. So for a lot of people, whenever they want to have some color separation in a build, well, a lot of people kind of overlook the fact of making sure that those colors go well together as you look at the kit, either up or down or up.
Right.
Whenever you have that kind of color separation, you want to make sure that it's aesthetically pleasing as you look down, not just when you're looking at a specific spot. Right. That's kind of my goal. So I don't want to bore you from the torso to the feet. I want to make sure that there is something visually interesting happening as you move your way down, but you also have to find the right balance of, you don't want it to look too busy.
Right.
So that's always been my kind of, nowadays anyway. I mean, even with like the Barbatos and the crossbone, that was the goal. That's kind of what I strive and I try to develop as I build and as I paint. Is making sure that this thing will flow from head to toe.
Two comments from our YouTube here. One, the crossbone is apparently 15 meters, so I regress. 15 meters from 14, I guess. But here you could see, like, when I meant size difference, I know for a fact the crossbones again are very petite in nature, and you could see right here, both of them are in the these are 1/100 scales for both of them, or was it a high grade conversion for the crossbone?
This was the master grade. So
master grade for both of them. Okay. And again, see the size scale difference on this one. And the second comment here is from Julio. Chooch is here, by the way, guys. He's saying that exclusively you use Crayola. I'm gonna fact check on that one, and I'm pretty sure he does. Like, Chris says big words, but we all know it's Crayola, guys. So it's
I like to sit there and just kind of hunch over like all these wax crayons. That's exactly what I do.
I can see him just grinding it. Like, what, you use thinner and just like apply it?
No, I put it in my mouth, I chew it, and I spit it out, and then I just rub it all over the thing. That's
all right, you heard it here first, guys. Pabs is a spitter. So going to the next, color separation and popping. I here, guys, is an example of what Chris is talking about when he's saying that, like, there's a lot of visual interest per segments and not just like a centralized location. And I get that. I like that effect because, like, you have your kind of like monotone colors going up there with the white and grays, and then you break it up by these accent colors, especially with the light purple here and the orange. Again, my favorite colors right here, orange and purple, and sometimes blue. Everything about this looks awesome, by the way. Now with the resin though, like, did you find any type of challenges when you were working with this kit? Who let the dogs out? Who?
I think my wife is home. But for me, this was probably one of the, like, on the complete opposite end of the Barbatos. This was probably the worst kit. Resin kit that I had worked on. So this was and I hate to say this to him because Jim is a very dear and close friend to me. This was a Simpro kit, but this was one of their early kind of side 3 Simpro collaborations. And this was on the very last legs of casting. So this had a lot of warp pieces, a lot of very rough casting, a lot of rough surfaces, and this needed a lot of work. And this crossbone was one of the reasons why I have such an eye for detail now, just because I didn't want to, well, first of all, I didn't want to disappoint my wife and build a terrible kit. And
Yeah.
secondly, like I didn't want this to come out and like look like as if, oh, you just slapdash this on. This is a resin kit. Like
Yeah.
like the surfaces look terrible, like this and that looks terrible. So this was a huge practice in making sure that the surfaces looked right. And again, it went with my aesthetic of a clean build with trying to make the details pop as much as possible in the color, starting that theory of color flow. So this was kind of the beginnings of that.
It's a beautiful kit, by the way. Like the finish and not knowing how much work it does take, because I know resin takes work. That's why I'm asking these questions. I've yet to complete one. I am not a resin builder by trade or like something that I actively pursued. I've been kind of curious about it. But when I see people working on resins, like typical questions do pop, and these are also from my general curiosity of like how do you guys tackle resin, because like everybody has different workflows and techniques. So that I'm interested in, and from the sounds of it, like you successfully executed what you sought out to do anyways, regardless of the challenges. Now obviously stress and frustration tends to be part of our hobby. Can you maybe share with us like what you do to either reset, unwind, and kind of just like get your energy back up to work with something that's can be difficult with?
God, what do I do to reset? I like to I don't know. I like to hang out with friends. So I mean, not so much like physically these days, but people that I consider very close friends, like Zishan and Kyle, Brian and Julio. Those guys, first of all, are the absolute best in my opinion, at keeping you not only grounded, but also know how to keep you up if you're down.
Right.
And they kind of help reset my viewpoints, just because we're so different in terms of personalities and in terms of our the way we build, that talking to them about conversations of how we build, it gives you a whole new perspective on what you are doing. Right, so yes. That and sometimes I'd like to kind of step away from the workbench, and I play video games every now and then whenever I can. Try to spend time with, as you guys heard just now, my dogs and my wife and stuff. So that kind of helps me kind of appreciate the time that I'm given to work on this more, or work on my work on Gunpla more and nice. Kits and stuff like that. So those are
help. What I got from that is definitely, talking with friends, getting, maybe getting some energy feed from people that are very uplifting. Different POV also can, reset what you're looking at. But I mean, like everybody gets into that whole, they get either burnt out or stressed or frustrated with a build. And
just a quick note. I mean, obviously, I said those names like Brian, Julio, and stuff like that. But there's obviously more. There's a whole bunch.
Yeah, say hi to Manny, man. Like this guy is now up on. He's PMing me right now. It's like, yo, just end the show now. He's talking shit. I'm like, okay, yeah.
No, Manny is another guy. Obviously, I guess to a degree, Tim. Tex, those guys. Those people,
they want to hear everybody. Just go to the roster, man. Start from the top. All the way.
Just let me grab this real quick list of names.
Get the scroll here.
No, truth be told, though, those guys, we rarely call each other friends. We usually call ourselves a tribe, because we're, we like to keep each other, kind of centered and grounded, and I call those guys my circle, and I call those guys my friends, and they definitely help with a reset if I have to. I mean, and also they will call out your BS if they have to. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Let's do a couple of stuff here. First off, on Twitch, Hero, I watched Vegeta 8259 as well. He did redeem a stretch. I'm just gonna do a quick stretch. I don't know about you, Chris, if you need to like just.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what I do on streams. I also stretch, I suppose.
I don't know. It's a prize I give to people that have been watching the stream. So thank you guys, everybody on Twitch. Underground Aesthetic is saying lol 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 lol, and this looks amazing. And I think he's referring to the Crossbone Gundam. here over at YouTube, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. A couple of comments here. I'm just gonna read off. Let's see here. Plamo build report. Is there even such a thing as a easy good resin kit? He's laughing his ass off. Resin itself is just a challenging project.
And we'll talk about a few at some point.
maybe.
Talk about a few. Don't worry about it.
From Jojo, are their products still that bad? I guess Jojo's referring to the company you got this resin kit from.
No. So yeah, this was at the very end of a cost life cycle. So this was a very bad costing. The quality these days are night and day. Yeah, this was just very bad timing on getting this particular kit. So I wouldn't worry too much about the quality these days.
Yep. And we already mentioned Manny saying, "What's up to you too, Pabs?" Tell him.
Sorry, man.
Also from Tim Harkins, Child of Mecha, Ariel, have you figured out who this guy yet is? We're still kind of like, rough, like padding it, and
he's going through the layers, man. All right, it's an onion.
We're peeling it. It's an onion. Yes, we're peeling the layers. They in the same room. Yes, because of our light scheme. Let's see. Also, Miguel is saying no, it's not about a tribal thing. Pabs, you are completely wrong, and I'm gonna have to go with Miguel on this one. It's a cult. All right, a cult. Let's go.
Absolutely.
With that. The House of Plamo, the House of Resin, right here. Oh my god. And for everybody else that's tuning in, guys, welcome to AO Mecha Live. This is a feature builder. Joining us here tonight is Chris Pabs. We're gonna go on and continue with our journey with more resin stuff and conversion stuff and details. We got the camphor up next. This is interesting.
So this is not a conversion. This is not resin. This is another. This is a practice in scratch and kit bashing, I guess. Again, this is going. So after a couple of resin builds, I do like to kind of refresh with a kit bash or a scratch build. Then this was again another evolution of that camphor design. And as much as I absolutely love the camphor, there are things about it that I wish that they could have changed. Like for example, with this, I extended the torso by at least 8 millimeters. Like I really hate the fact that the camphor doesn't have a torso. It's
torso,
just chest. Yeah, it's just chest and then waist. Like what am I doing with this? Like how does this work? I really wanted to give it like a very heroic, even though it's not technically a heroic mobile suit. I wanted to give it a heroic posture or a silhouette. And again, I wanted to kind of evolve that design and really wanted to elongate some of these limbs because they were terribly short.
You know, it's funny also, that we're talking about the camphor. I recently built this as well because I built this a long time ago, like before I knew what proper tools were. It was one of my earlier master grades, and just to attest to your point, like the articulation obviously suffers a lot because one, it's an older kit, and two, I have to agree with you with the torso area because like it can't move. It does this. But it's also limited by a couple of things. The wire from the backpack that's coming through. It's just like there's no ab crunch as well. So it can't tilt up or down if you want to do any kind of dynamic poses. So, and what kind of Play-Doh did you use for this one? That's from
I used
from
number
Julio,
3. Number 3 cement gray. No, this is so we had talked about this kind of touched on it earlier. But we you were talking about kind of using putty and how I wasn't too familiar with it with the Heckager build, and this was me kind of familiarizing myself with epoxy putty, kind of seeing what I can do with it, seeing its limitations, what is the right practice in terms of applying it, what isn't. So this kit taught me a lot about why it's important to understand not only the potential of putty but also its limitations, because if you don't understand that and you just apply it everywhere, it's not going to meld very well if you're trying to keep a kit to its base design but trying to develop it.
So now that you're like customizing, did you have like some kind of like aside from the torso, like what's your vision like what are you trying to achieve eventually when you're slapping things on? Are you looking for certain parts that will fit that design? Like what are kind of like the parts list that you're working with for this one?
So the main goal of, apart from developing the design, was to give this a better silhouette. So when you're looking at it and you look at it from with the light shining from behind it, you look at it and you go, okay, so that's a cool looking suit. And then when you actually see the suit, it's like, oh yeah, my my suspicions were correct. It is indeed a cool looking suit. So that was kind of the main goal. And looking at this thing from every angle, I wanted to make sure that was what was going on. So I wanted to elongate, like I wanted to extend a lot of the things, like the knees. I wanted to change the designs on the shoulders, and I also wanted to remove some of the bulkiness in that torso. I wanted to make sure that this thing had almost a slim, if not unrealistic, kind of torso to waist, or to ab to waist ratio. So I removed a lot of that, the detail on the underarm, and I wanted to make sure that ring detail that they had, that's kind of stuck between the arm, shoulder, and the torso, would be kind of a lot more prominent. So that was kind of the the idea.
The route that you're going for. Awesome. I also like the collar that you added onto this, like that I like that little detail.
That was that was I was very influenced by Dark Souls. I don't know if you guys can tell, I was playing Dark Souls at the time. If you guys have not seen Dark Souls 2, I don't remember the name of the armor, but it was like he had like the fur coat and the knight's helmet. I'm sure Brian will remind me. But it was this was the fact that the way that the Canva's head looked, it reminded me of that. So I was like, why not put a collar on it? So I did that, and then kind of shortened the back of the head as well, gave it a lot more detail on the head, kind of sharpened up that command horn, and we just went with it.
So here's some more close up of the details. I just want to talk about like some of the work that you did here. Obviously, this like the putty this is like probably like sanded down now to like achieve this clean surface, but like obviously with working with putty, it can get really tacky, it can get really like chunky as well. What are some of like advice when people are working with putty for the first time? Obviously, like derived from your lessons learned on this one.
So the first and foremost, please do not use Tamiya QuickType epoxy putty. This is what I use.
That's the green box one, right? Like that's the green.
No, this is the blue box.
Oh, the blue box, right? Okay.
No, yeah. So this is smooth type. It's smooth type. Yeah, smooth type. I'm sorry. Don't use smooth type. This has been a long day. No, don't use Tamiya smooth type. So obviously you don't see this in pictures, but each and every single time I had to apply some of this stuff, it would take me absolutely forever to wait and sit around and wait till it was at a stage where it was pliable that I could shape it or sand it. It was a very time consuming thing. And the next thing is even if you're using QuickType, Tamiya QuickType, or you're using any other type of putty, be patient with it. Try to use it in stages. Kind of work your way up to what it is you need it to be. So for example, for those knees, initially they were only like maybe a 3mm extension, and then eventually I started to work it further and make it longer, but still make it look aesthetically pleasing. And then be patient with it enough that it got to a point where it was nice and smooth and flat, and I could start scribing and adding details to it.
So speaking of detail, all good points. By the way, for me, like when I was sanding, also just to like extend the time, would like just add water, and I think that would help it smooth out as well when you're working with it. It's also we have a correction here from Julio. It's Tamiya poop type.
Thank you, Julio.
Sorry, thank you for that. Really appreciate color scheme.
See, this is exactly what I mean by keeping you grounded. So,
yes, there we go. So color scheme, obviously a little bit different than the conventional camphor color. We have an Amuro Ray decal on the shoulder. Is this a Amuro type mobile suit?
Yeah, so a lot of people will call it blasphemous, but yeah, this is technically an Amuro Ray type mobile suit. So I had done a commission about a year before I had done this, where somebody wanted me to take the Alex and give it the Cusval Gundam color scheme. And I kind of wish I showed you that, but hindsight is 2020. But it was all the reds and the magentas and all that stuff. And I figured it'd be kind of a fun idea to, well, why don't we take the Camphor and give it a mirror ray colors? So I gave it instead of the typical kind of either the what do you call it, the midnight blue and the whites and the grays, I figured I might as well just take the RX-78's colors, take it into my own interpretation, and then just apply it to this thing. Since I wanted to give it a heroic stance, why not give it a heroic protagonist? So
it looks really awesome too, especially with like details on the weapons. I'm really digging this. Color separation is key, guys, and I think we've touched base a lot of it during the show. It gives visual interest, especially when you have like multi-tones, multicolor around the area where the weapon is. Even though it's an accessory, like from my perspective anyways, it adds on to the overall color palette, because like sure, the armor is white, but then this becomes that extra color separation on its own. Really awesome color choices, and as well like metal parts here. Notice some detail up parts. And again, did you use the chrome for this one, or did you go with like metal now with these?
Yeah, those are metal parts this time. Yes. But the actual like verniers themselves, like the on the backpack are also that metallic chrome.
Looking great. I really dig this. So was this like more of a personal project, or were you building this for like a competition or an event?
This was kind of like a very strange commission, because somebody had commissioned me to build this, sent it to me, sent me like all that stuff, and then just disappeared off the face of the planet. Like
Wait, what?
I have no idea. I have no idea where this person went. Like I've been trying to contact this person for like 3 or 4 years now, and I have no idea where they've gone.
Wow.
So this is on display like somewhere here behind me, just because I haven't been able to get in contact with them. So if you ever watch this, please get in contact with me so I can send this to you, because as much as I enjoy having this kit with me, it's technically not mine. So please take it off. So
if it's not claimed by end of this year, I will put up the Buster Gundam in trade for this. Just
there you go.
Putting that on the table, Chris. We have a question here. We're gonna get back to more resin in the next while, but we have a question from Mecha Skyfish. Skyers here. How often do you feel the need to add more detail to resin kits?
So I don't call this out too much, but I do actually add quite a few details to resin kits, whether or not it's additional scribe details or additional detail of parts. I add those on a regular basis on all of my builds. I just never have to. I don't feel like I don't have to call them out. And obviously there are times where I am contacted by a company to try a resin kit, and there I can't practice those. So right. So some of those I have to kind of
stick with whatever.
Stock. Yeah. But usually with a personal project, I try my best to add additional details on where I see fit. But there are obviously some resin kits where it's like, that's way too much detail. There's way too many things going on. It becomes too visually busy. So you kind of need to find the fine line between too busy and just busy enough, and kind of marry those two concepts and make sure it's visually interesting but not too visually busy.
Nice. Just a couple of comments here from YouTube. VX10 Viper, welcome to the show. The proportions, the proportions on the Camphor reminds me of them Makoto Kobayashi designs. Is that an inspiration for that?
I am so glad somebody noticed it, because every time I said it, so whenever I built this thing, I would say that.
I was gonna go back to it. I'm gonna go back to the image.
I was heavily inspired by Makoto Kobayashi, and people would just give me the head tilt, what are you talking about?
The who? Some Japanese guy?
Yeah, some guy.
Oh, the guy that did Pat Labor.
Yes. And and so I had just given up trying to say, whenever I tried to explain what was going on with his belt. So I was like, I just wanted to make it look skinny and it looked like a hero kit. So thank you so much, Josh. One of the absolute God builders. out there.
Awesome. And yeah, thank you for tuning in for us with us in the show. Let's see here. Is there any other comments? No, from Manny here. It's a phantom commission. Them ghosts be ghosting you. It was Z who commissioned it.
It's like that gif of that dude that does this and then just vanishes.
Just
like
vanishes.
He did this and then he just vanished. I hope he finds me someday. Like I hope he gets in contact with me again. But for now, it's in one of these display cases.
Awesome. And I just want to say though, Chris, like you have a really awesome background. I've said this a million times from the previous show, but like I really dig your new setup here. With all, I need to organize mine like yours, man. I'm just gonna imitate you for everything. I'm gonna wear the backwards hat. I already got the headphones on. I gotta get the gamer chair. All right, I gotta.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hi guys, welcome to AO Mecha Live. I'm Chris Pabs.
Well, see, that's the wrong type. So it's gotta be what's up, guys. It's Chris Pabs. Like you have to.
Oh, okay, sorry,
right, man. What's up, guys? No, it's actually what's up, guys. Chris Pabs here. Like it doesn't matter where you are, you're here. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna have to write it down. Practice that. And the more we talk, like, sorry, there's a quick break. I know we talked about your accent a little bit. Sometimes it pops in, sometimes it pops out. It's kind of cute in that way. I've commented how cute it was to hear you kick in your UK accent. Sometimes your Filipino accent kicks in, and then you have your American accent, which is very aggressive, by the way.
So
can we do a little background on what accumulated to all these various sounds I hear from you aside from your your normal sounds, bodily sounds?
So I was born in the Philippines, so I am Filipino. I was born in a small mountain province town, and I was raised there for a good amount of my childhood. Up until my father joined the U.S. Navy, where he obviously went out to the U.S. and then my mother, trying to find a better life for us, moved out to the U.K. So I spent a lot of my time kind of being a Navy child and kind of moving from spot to spot.
Half Navy, half Harry Potter. I love it, man.
Exactly. So I spent a lot of my childhood, my teenage years, and my young.
I'm just thinking you in a freaking Slytherin outfit, and I'm gonna get you a freaking wand, but it's gonna be an airbrush, and you're gonna be like Leviosa, and then the paint would just like pop out, and it would be awesome. Yeah. It's like resin magic.
That's how I get. That's how I can mask so fast, because I can just let it let it do its own thing. But yeah, so I spent most of my childhood, my teenage years, and my young adult life in the UK. I was kind of raised there. The culture. That was my culture, and I moved to the US after my family had moved here a couple of years later. And one of my cousins or my family members told me to just never lose the accent. And I was like, don't worry about it. I won't lose it. It's cool. And so whenever I'm thinking to myself, it's the British accent. But when I did first move here, I moved to a very small town here in Illinois that doesn't understand the concept of, hold on, he's Asian. And he has a British accent. What is happening? How is this happening? Where is his whatever? Like where is this British thing? Like I don't understand.
You forgot to put an Esquire.
Yeah, and so when I first moved here, I started working in retail just to kind of work my way back up, because apparently my British qualifications don't account for much here. And I would get that same question, like the same questions over and over again, like why do you have a British accent? Where is your Chinese accent?
Your Chinese accent? Did they ask you that?
Yeah. Do you have tea on a daily basis? Spoilers, I absolutely do. And then like, have you met the Queen? Spoilers again, I have. She's a very wonderful lady. She's
gonna outlive us all, right? That's like fact.
I I can neither confirm nor report or deny this. But so I had gotten so frustrated and annoyed with all these questions. I decided, you know what? I'm just going to hide my accent and start talking in an American accent like this, and nobody knew the wiser. Even people that I was helping at the store who had heard my British accent before didn't realize I was now speaking in an American accent. So,
oh wow,
yeah, so
that's funny.
So that's kind of where that
yeah.
goes. Yeah. So now all three of those accents kind of mess around.
It
So
flows. The thing is, like,
it
it flows, right? Like, I when I'm watching you when you do your stream, I catch it because like I love listening to it because like I usually have like my headset on. You guys are on my my phone. I'm like walking around building and stuff. But when it does kick in, I'm like, oh yeah, he's like not Chinese, but. For me too, I think I just to relate with that though, Chris, like, cause like a lot of Filipino friends of mine say I don't have the Filipino accent. I have like either very English, very North American pronunciation and enunciation on things.
Sure, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. It's a very, very hot mermaid talking to you. So because also my name, that's another thing too. So my name, a lot of people call me Ariel, and I just say, yeah, sure, that's how you know. There you go. Thank you. Ariel.
I know how it's actually said. Don't worry about it, bro. Ariel.
I know. There we go. And I'll be like, hey, what's up? Or and so a couple of things factor for me. If people don't know who I am or have never met me in person in my line of work, and I call, say, consultants, call sales rep or whatever, before that, we'll be emailing. So in my email, it's like Ariel Optinella or Ariel Optinella, however you want to read it, but like associate also with The Little Mermaid. So sometimes if I get really flirty emails back from like contractors or like IT guys and all that stuff that never has seen me or anything like that, right? So like, oh, don't worry, lady, I got you covered. Or like, hey babe, just sending you this quick sample of our new product line, and like totally like very nonchalant. So sometimes I like to play with it too. It's like, oh, you're so kind and blah blah blah. And then it's when I need to like really talk to them that like you know, because they're either being very very too flirty with me, and it happens. It's kind of weird. They actually go full blown, hey, you want to grab coffee sometime? I got like several of that, which is cute. But so when I call though, I'm like, hi, is this so and so from construction company? And they're like, yeah, what's up? Hi, I've been emailing you the last half hour. Oh, could you? Hey, what's up? I'm Ariel. And like, oh, bro, what's up? Hey, when I'm at coffee, I'm at beers, bro, dude. And they would just go bro mode on me, and it was so again, that's
got to be satisfying as hell, though. Honestly, like that's got to be satisfying.
I used to have a little check mark that I write on the side of like my desk. It's like, yeah, there's another one. Oh man. Anyways, we got a new follow here. WearTag, thank you for following the Twitch channel. And I'm sorry, I deviated now from our show. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal the Chris Pab spotlight here, but we're gonna get back to it with the resin god, the resin wizard, with another resin kit. Now this one here is the new Gundam from the looks of it.
Yes, so this was the very first time I built a Hainu, and also one of the first times I collaborated with a resin company. So this is my first collaboration with Simpro. They reached out and wanted me to try out one of their latest, I guess, resin costs. I kind of established a relationship with Simpro when I told them about the crossbow, because I had written a review on it. I wasn't very favorable with the review, so he got in contact and he was like, hey man, like I'm really sorry about this, and explained the situation, and we kind of just struck up a friendship. He's despite being in the resin business, he is still a fan of the hobby. So it was very easy to strike up conversation and strike up a friendship very quickly.
Nice.
And this is
where are they based, by the way? Like, where's their main production or their company located?
Simpro is located in originally they were located in California, and then they had recently moved to North Carolina. So that is where they are located currently.
Nice. So initial conversation seems to have gone well. What was it like now working with more resin? Like obviously this is now you're well into doing resin. This is at least like what, your third or fourth by now, right?
my with the high new at this point. I
Mhm.
believe this was probably my maybe fourth or fifth, I want to say.
Mhm.
So I wasn't thinking that I had kind of covered. I wasn't calling myself like a resin expert or anything, but I was kind of starting to notice patterns and things that a lot of resin companies tend to do, and kind of what the pitfalls are, what you should look out for, what you shouldn't look out for. So things were starting to kind of click for me in terms
Nice.
of the ins and outs of them. And Simpro really wanted me to kind of look and see at what their new casting looks like, and the improvements over their previous work, and I mean, building this thing, it definitely showed. And this was not only a heck of a ton of fun, but this was probably one of, at the time, my proudest kits.
Oh wow.
Since this was probably one of my largest kits.
It's a huge kit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not even with the high new. I mean, this was also extended several inches, or not inches, several millimeters. So this was a very tall boy, and it set me on the path on building more of these. So you guys will see with work in progress stuff. Like I'm currently working on 2 more. So.
I love the high new. I didn't like the first release. I don't know if you remember the high new master grade.
The master grade.
The master grade, skinny legs, skinny everything, and I'm like, I remember seeing a conversion kit for the high grade a while ago, and it looked beefy. And when I saw the master grade, the first release, and that weird shield break that's like asymmetrical jog. Do you remember?
I do. Like I didn't really understand what they were going for, because I mean, I know it was a part of the high new. The proportions were always kind of strange, just because most of the mass was up here, and then they just kind of V'd down into these tiny feet in the original master grade. And I'm so glad they came out with a VerKA, because that thing just blows it out of the water. So
I think people have forgotten that other kit even existed. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, this is better than the first one in casual conversations back in the hobby shops. Like, what do you mean the first one? Like, you mean the high grade, or the RG? And they're like, no one acknowledges now that 1.0 new exists.
Exactly.
Some product shots, it's not product shot, they look like product shots. I want to say that for the next couple of photos that like we have here for the finish shots. Fabs, amazing photography, by the way. I love your lighting, very mood, very dramatic feel to that, and like the colors really do pop. So you have this resin kit. Like, what can you tell us about this now that you're working with Simpo, and you're working with their first big kit? Do you find that the scale affects your workflow, or did you do something different with this?
So with the high new, it really taught me that a lot of companies have different things in terms of quality. So usually with a resin kit, you expect a lot of gluing and a lot of pinning and all that stuff. With this particular resin kit, like this didn't require any of that. Like no glue, no pinning, no magnets. Like it's all just a snap fit, and everything just fit. Everything was just like it blew my mind, because I was so used to going, okay, so this is a resin kit, I have to go ahead and do so, and so I have to use my.
You're like mentally preparing for it, like to be a challenging thing. Wow.
Exactly, and then putting it together, I was like, holy cow! Like, but I don't have to do any of that. Like, this is mind blowing. This is wild. Yeah, this is kind of my this is my biggest takeaway from this thing.
Nice. I've yet to come across like people saying, like raving about like good resin kits, and I it ranges, right? Like some people say, oh, the fit is good, but you need to do this, or like, hey, don't get that kit because of the warping. There's no way to tell though if it's gonna be fit or not until you actually get the product, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's. I mean, you can get 2 of the same like resin kit, and the costing would be completely different. Like the quality would be totally different. So it's never 1 and 2 the same thing. But with this thing, because he sent me several of these, looking through them, the quality was exactly the same. The fit was exactly the same. So it was
nice.
just. I was like, well, I've never experienced this in any of the resin kits I've worked with so far. And I can see why he really wanted to show like, hey, this is the quality that we're aiming for now. And that's kind of that's kind of
nice
what he established since then.
So after the build, like like obviously you enjoyed it and all that stuff. Did you give them another review and feedback, or like is it like a continued working relationship with them that you get a feedback before they launch?
Yeah. So he wanted not only obviously he wanted feedback before the release and see if there were any changes that he should make, or what works and what doesn't. But he also wanted me to review it afterwards, kind of give my the thing with working with Simpro is he absolutely puts honesty over everything else. And he wanted like a very honest review of this thing, what works with it, what doesn't work, what you do like, what you don't. And there are a lot of things with this thing that did work and a lot of things that didn't. And he is absolutely receptive to all of that feedback, and it's something I can really appreciate with him. So
when I guess for me it's a question, like when you are doing reviews, and I know you've done several reviews for other things too, but like in this particular one, when you're reviewing resin kits and all that stuff, what would you say is your top 3 things that they need to achieve in order for you to say, hey, it's a good kit?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, fit is a very important thing. How well does this thing fit? Do you have to heat something up and make sure that things fit before they can even go on the frame? If it's a conversion kit, will it stand on its own? Is kind of part of that. And then the second is the surface finish of it as it is out of the box. Another thing. You kind of want to make sure that there's, because some resin companies will just absolutely cake a mold with mold release, which helps remove the costed pieces out of their molds and all that stuff. But that stuff absolutely makes it a nightmare for paint to adhere to the surface. So that's another thing I kind of check, if there are any kind of surface imperfections, how much of it is there, how much is fixable, and then finally it's the innovation of how the kit is separated and put onto the frame. Is probably the third and final thing that I think, okay, if this is very innovative, it's not very destructive to the frame, unless it absolutely has to be, then that is a good thing.
Wow, that's really good as well, because like again, guys, giving a little bit insight for you guys, like when you guys are looking, that maybe incorporate some of that POV before. But again, like it's such a tricky thing, because I can't really say, oh, watch out for that. But then when they get it, it's like, how can you watch out for something that you can't get your hands on beforehand? So,
right.
It's one of those chicken and the eggs, I guess. Again, awesome build, awesome kit, and the colors here, definitely the traditional colors on this. Was this used as their product shots now for the launch?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it was. I don't think they used my shots, just because I had gone for more of the original high new scheme and not like the high new Verka scheme. So they went with that more so than this blue. But I thought that this was still a pretty cool one, but they went ahead and didn't use it.
Oh, well, maybe next time in future releases we'll see some of your work as the sample images for it, huh?
Maybe someday.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Let's see here. We'll do this one more kit here, and then we'll do a quick break and say hi. But like before we do continue on with this kit, I just want to say hi to everybody that is tuning in. Tonight, guys, is a AO Mecha feature builder episode here with Chris Pabs. Let's see here. Just a couple of comments from Twitch. I noticed your accent, Ariel, and that's from Hero, and he's Chinese. Underground aesthetic. Hey, baby. With like some cat ears. That's awesome. I think he's cat calling me instead of me cat calling people. It is not very apparent, but it's there. Okay, cool. From Randy, haha, I can relate in a way with you, AO. Most India would call me Miss Rani because my name apparently means queen in Hindu. Hey, there you go. Queen it up. I learned something today. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing.
Run with it. Yeah.
Run with it, absolutely. Guys, don't forget to check out Mecha Decals. USA Gundam Store. That's a shout out to Tim here, pumping out the gear, all that stuff. Guys, Mecha Decals, hit them up, guys. Where should we buy mecha decals? Yes, go to USAGundamStore.com and again save with our discount codes. Almost everybody that I've interviewed has a discount code USAG. So for this show, we could use AO Mecha 10 and save on your mecha decals. Let's see here. I just want to say hi to everybody that is tuning in. Julio, Jojo, Brendan, hey. Whoa, the Verka looks great in blue, but it looks great in any colors, I think. If you were to recolor it again, Chris, what would you color the Hainu?
Gosh, I don't really know. I mean, I've always liked kind of like the test colors on it, like the reds. I think that would be a pretty cool repaint. I know I've seen it kind of bounced around a million times, but that would be pretty cool. Like the purple in me would say lavender. just to kind of see what it would look like, see if it would be nice, I guess. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not too sure. I mean, you can really go out there and do a 4-Rhina kind of custom with like a neon green and like different shades of gray. I don't know.
That would be cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't we? Well, speaking of gray and continuing on with the journey here, we have this one is a conversion kit for the Calamity.
So this is a conversion kit for the Freedom to turn it into a Master Grade Calamity, which doesn't exist, or at least won't
not
exist
yet.
for another couple of months. Yeah.
Couple of months. Nice. So it is a strike frame underneath it, right? Or no, sorry, you said Freedom frame underneath. Right?
It is the Freedom 1.0. So it's the first Master Grade Freedom release. And yeah, they went ahead and just removed every single piece of armor on this thing and decided, hey, let's turn it into a Calamity.
Wow, looking great. Again, I've always enjoyed the Seed mechs, and having seen this, with the details that it has, the Calamity really looks cool so far in regards to details. So what do we got here? What's the story behind the Calamity?
So this was probably thinking about it, probably the most involved conversion of them all, just because it takes everything off the frame and changes everything. It doesn't even use the original head. There's nothing inside that head but resin. And this is probably the heaviest. You actually can see it right there. The heaviest of all of the conversion kits, just because there's so much resin on there. The backpack, the shoulders, the chest, like everything. And this was a practice, an absolute practice in masking, just because there were so many different shades of green on this thing, as well as the yellows and the oranges. This was also a practice in finishing a kit with different types of finishes. So not only does this have a flat coat, but also there is also a gloss finish in some parts. There's also a metallic finish in some parts. So this was a good practice of showing that you can have color flow even with different finishes.
Right. And we're gonna get to the color flow. The next shots here are actually like what you mentioned. So I when I saw this, when I first saw the images, it looks cool. But were you saying that a lot of these had to be masked for the details?
A lot of these had to be masked. So minus the cage right there. So that brass cage, that's separate, but everything else underneath was just one giant piece.
Wow.
And that needed masking for all of the pieces, and obviously you had to wait and you had to paint the silver, then mask off the silver, and then paint the copper, and then mask that off, and then you had to if you're going for different finishes on the same thing, then you obviously had to kind of had to prepare and plan which finish would go first, and then mask all of that off, and then finish a different finish on a different part of that kit. So it was just like really a lot of planning, a lot of thinking and planning on what you're supposed to do, or the steps of what you're supposed to go.
Now, actually, I just want to go back real quick. When you are painting, do you tend to paint per color or per section?
I always go per section. It might be faster if you do it per color, but it's just I feel I work more efficiently when I do it per section.
Nice. And the next one here is the shield with the bust, like the beam cannons and all that stuff. Are these all one piece as well, or is it segmented as well?
I believe this is, so the olive part was one piece. Even that middle piece was one piece. Obviously the massive green shield was one piece. The cannons were one piece. So there's just a lot of masking, a lot of color separation.
Awesome. And the next couple of shots, guys. First off, wow on these ones. I love the seed design kits. I'm very fond of these kits, but like the mood and the color scheme of this one just really shines through in like that lower, darker tone things when you're taking photos. So photo-wise, like how do you usually take your photos? Do you have like a booth? Are you using your phone? Do you use a camera? DSLR?
I like to use whatever I I have. So I've used both a camera. Regularly I use a mirrorless camera. With a photo booth. So one of the things that I was before I moved out here was also I was a fashion photographer for a brand store. Yeah, so that was kind of one of my professions. So I just pretty much applied what I had learned there into what I do when I take couple of photos. So a lot of my fashion photography involved high drama and harsh shadowing that didn't kind of muddle up details. So that's kind of my kind of what I do with a lot of these.
Now, obviously, an awesome kit and an awesome product, post color and all that stuff. What would you say are some of the challenges, though, aside from like a lot of single pieces to be colored and sectioned and masked?
Oh God, a challenge would probably be keeping things together. So this is one of the things where it was just it just wouldn't hold together. Like it was so heavy. And the master grade Freedom 1.0 frame isn't exactly well known for its stability. So it had the weakest ankles known to man, and it just was not. It just was terrible to keep straight. And if you can see here, like the way I have the kit holding the shield, that is the only way you can hold that shield.
Really? Like downward? Yeah. Okay.
It's that shield is. The weight of that shield is about maybe a regular size master grade shield.
What?
The weight of that backpack is at least a large master grade. So it had to hold that pose and carry that pose with just the master grade Freedom 1.0 ankles. So I had to do a lot of reinforcing in that aspect.
Wow. Now, biggest takeaway from this, either lessons learned or the most enjoyable part of it?
The most enjoyable part are definitely those cannons, the Schlog cannons.
The Schlong cannons, okay.
The Schlog.
Oh, sorry, sorry, your accent kicked in. Sorry, no, the Schlong.
The Schlog cannons.
Sure,
no,
potatoes, man.
Was that potatoes? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the cannons were definitely probably the most fun. I mean, the insane amount of details on the inside of those things, and if you had those clothes, you would never even see any of that.
Yeah.
They gave you the option and gave you all these details to just open them up and give them this cool look, this kind of maintenance mode almost. And you have all these details on the inside, like the pistons to move them upwards and all that stuff, as well as some of the inner details on the shoulders. I feel like I had a lot of fun with that. Right, and this was, if you look back at all of my builds, this is my very first green build.
That's true.
Yeah, I had never used any kind of olive or any kind of green tint on anything, and this was.
Was it a custom mix? Sorry, just kind of curious. Or was it like, did you select a paint color close to it? Because I know there's like pre-made ones already.
I have never used a paint bottle out of its bottle on it. Like, it's always been a custom mix for me. Like I wish I could show you, but it's in a box. But I have like notebooks upon notebooks of like different ratios of different paints as I've built, so that if I had to recreate it, I knew exactly what to do.
The ratios and like what material and brand and all that stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Also, were you scared? Like, oh, I'm gonna do a different color. I'm like, was there like a nervous flinch in you when you started painting this?
No, I was a brave boy. No, one thing that I do remember very clearly was since I do a lot of custom mixing, I found out very quickly what containers can and cannot hold lacquer paints. So if you
Oh my god, yeah. Do you
yeah,
find
so
that like you have switched to glass now? Because like that's the only thing I know for sure that will not like break.
I had to learn that HDPE and LDPE bottles were the way to go. I had used like stuff that wasn't that a long time ago, or during this build technically, and I was mixing up stuff, and the bottom just melted off. And
Yes.
I was like, oh,
Yes.
and then I was like, oh, and then I checked all of them. I was like, oh, I checked all of the other balls because I had used the same balls for the rest of this build.
He
And I was
said
like, oh,
bottles,
everything-
guys, not balls. Just
bottles. I looked at them and they were perfectly fine. So I was like, okay, great, that looks good. So I just put them on my cutting mat, and then like a couple of hours later, I saw like just a pool. And I don't know if you actually see it. I don't know if the work in progress photos were there, but you can actually see one of the circles of paint.
Did
on
I
my
include
cutting
it?
mat.
I might have to look back onto
You
that.
might
So
have.
there was some photos there that like were zoomed in. I don't know if it was the detail of something or like if it's in the background, but I'll have to take a look again. Unfortunately I don't think it's in the mix. So why did you drop it on? You dropped it on the mat and like what, it made a hole, like those acid that drops into metal and then just corrodes it.
I just left it. I just left the bottle on the mat, and then just kind of continue with the build, and then realized that it wasn't just because it was working. It was just that the melt was slowly melting the bottom. So the thinner was slowly melting the bottom. So I didn't notice it until I lifted it up, and then just a whole bunch of paint just spurted out from the bottom.
Oh my god. All right, why don't we bring it back real quick here. Again, lots of adventures in resin, lots of adventures in like mixing stuff, experimentation here with Chris Paz. I just want to say hi to everybody. We do have a question and comment over at Twitch. This is from Underground Aesthetic. As someone who's new to resin kits, I have a fear of missing things and generally bumbling up the kit. What general advice would you give to have a successful build? That's the first question. And the second one, and which studios do you prefer other than Simpro? Thanks.
General advice. Plan. Always plan ahead. Like whenever you're building a resin kit, like look at the kit. Like I always do a snap fit of a resin kit first, just to see what it is I need to do first. And then just plan and think about what it is you're going to do, and take your time. It's not a race. You're not building this to be the first person to build it or whatever. Just take your time. Be strategical. Be methodical with your work. And if something doesn't look right, it's okay to strip it and try again. That's what a lot of people seem to have a problem with that, just because they've put in all these hours and all this time and working on something. But if you kind of omit something now, you're just going to end up doing it again anyway. So it's okay to try again. It's okay to strip it and try again. And then studios I prefer other than Simpro, Extreme Squad is one of them. I'm trying to remember all of. Let me see. Lab Zero comes out with some amazing stuff. Obviously, Ujal Land is probably the number one like resin design guys at the moment. So if you can pick up any kind of Ujal Land kit, please, I recommend you do. You'll see a couple of them, I guess, coming up in a little bit. So those are some of the other companies that I would 100% recommend.
Yeah, and speaking of coming up, guys, we have a whole bunch of awesome like now we're getting to like the highest tier of like production here coming out of Pabs. And again, it is a build-up story. We're closing just almost past 2.5 hours. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get through this story, Pabs. How is your energy level? You still good? You need some.
It's always low, man. Don't have to don't worry about that. It doesn't matter whenever someone asks me, hey, how's your energy? It's like, dude, it's always low.
Awesome. And just feed off me then, and super high nitrous oxygen fucking energy here. We gotta get NOS. Lots of NOS on this one. Over there at YouTube, they're still talking about the schlong and the balls. Yep, it's a really good Jewish kit here. So, oh my God. Guys, we're gonna be right back after these commercials here with Chris Pab on AO Mecha Live. Stay tuned. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter, at AO_Mecha. And on Discord, fairly new, that one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys through any of those platforms. Feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMECHA10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there. All right, guys, welcome back. My name is Ariel, and tonight we are having a feature builder episode here with Chris Pabs. We were just talking about some resin, some companies in resin, some schlongs and balls. So I can't wait to get to the next body part of the conversation here. And oh no, it's gonna be that kind of show.
Yes, it is.
Lots of more stuff here to do, and I'm very excited to go to the next couple of slides, actually, Chris, because I think these are some of the ones that I actually started seeing from your work, that I started following you in Instagram and socials. And before we get to that, just a couple of comments here that we're going to go through. I just want to say from Mecha Skyfish, I want that YJL Impulse so bad, but I missed the pre-order.
Let me give you a quick insider preview that may be available very soon stateside, even if you didn't pre-order it. Just a quick thing.
Quick thing in there. All right, Skyers, keep an eye out for that one. Over at YouTube, Gunpla Uruguay is here. Hey, welcome to the show. There's a couple of comments here as well from Big Goof. That's my workflow: build it, paint it, hate myself, drink, wallow, self-load, strip it, buy another kit, and start over.
Is actually a quick secret about any of my builds. I absolutely hate my all of my builds up until I put the final decal on it, and they go, oh, that's not bad.
It's like, oh, okay, I guess that works. The fact that you finish it, I think that's my favorite part of it. Like, okay, yeah, we're done. We're done. Like, I don't want to look at it. I was like, yeah, I guess we're done.
I guess we're okay.
I guess we're okay.
Yeah.
I use dishwashing detergent. Oh man, just to clean stuff up. Zep 509 works. Purple Power degreaser or dishwash. Sorry, 505. There we go. Yes,
Zep 505. Yep.
Okay, I thought it needed something more powerful than dish soap. Neon Wave Gundam fans like balls in their 1 or 2 cannon variant. Oh my god.
Okay, so I think I see what Gunpla Uruguay is saying. So he had a question asking.
Oh, is there a question? Okay.
Yeah, he was asking for cleaning the resin parts from all the mold residue.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Yes. Okay.
Dish soap and tepid wool will work absolutely fine. It just takes a longer time, so you would need to keep it in there way longer than 8 hours. Zep 505 is probably the fastest I've used because I can take them out and clean them up within a couple of hours.
Right.
But if you are in a pinch and you don't have anything else, then dishwashing liquid and water will be just fine. But again, it just takes a little bit longer.
Nice. There we go. More tips from Chris coming up soon. But why don't we get to the rest of our story here? We have a couple of resin kits that are coming up. And I think these are the ones that I can't pronounce the name of it because it eludes me. What kits are these?
This is the Model Bingo Masamune Vidar, and I guess if we move forward with it, then it's the Model Bingo Bael Yukimura.
There we go. So the Asian-y ones with the pointy sword slash kind of
exactly. So
the samurai builds.
Yeah, these are based off of Sengoku Basara, which is a Romance of the Three Kingdoms kind of anime kind of reworking or retelling of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms story, and this is probably one of the builds that I first of all will say that I am very, very proud of.
Yes.
And also very, very sad because these kids are no longer with me. So
are these commissioned or were they given out or someone
no
bought it?
these were personal builds. However, a freak accident with a Detolf a shelf shattered in one of my Detolfs, and these guys were on it, and they fell, and rest in peace.
They did the Humpty Dumpty dance, eh?
Yep.
Oh my
We
God,
definitely
that must have been very heartbreaking. Again, my condolences to you
Yeah.
and your family for your loss.
I mean, combined in terms of hours I worked on these things. So these had mostly candy finish overcoats.
Mhm.
A lot of obviously a lot of details, a lot of masking, a lot of work was put into the overall finish. I wanted to make sure I didn't get any orange peel. So for those that are using a gloss finish, I was trying to avoid that. So you'll see in the final photos, you'll hopefully you don't see that. But yeah, I was trying to avoid the orange peel, and so combined, it was around about 1,000 hours overall for both of these.
Holy cow! I'm just looking at like all the little kind of like crevices and details on this one here. Very awesome, and obviously the inner frame is what the original kit would be, and it's did you use the Vidar, or can any of the Gundam frame fit on this?
This used specifically the Vidar, so the only, I mean, obviously the differences would be the Vidar head and the Vidar feet.
Right.
And these used those specifically, so you had to use the Full Mechanics Vidar frame.
Right on. And the photos on this one, these are some of the first ones I saw from you, and I was like, wow, that is cool. I really like the gold, the blue finish, like the candy, you went for the candy coat, but like it's not like that super too bright candy coat. What are some of the finishes you tend to use when you're like after you've done your base colors on this on your kit?
Like finishes, what do you mean?
Do you top coat? Do you do matte finish?
Oh, I do.
Gloss
Yes,
finish?
I definitely top coat. I prefer my finishes matte. I like my matte finishes just because it's aesthetically more pleasing to me.
Right.
But if I have to use gloss, then obviously for stuff like this, I had to gloss it up. A lot of metallics, a lot of overcoats, a lot of candy colors. So it needed that.
Now, when you're working on this one, I noticed there wasn't decals yet on this. Is it because there was no decals, or you just want to go for like a clean armor kind of look?
Yeah, I really wanted to go for the clean armor. I wanted to emphasize that this, like the paint by itself, because I don't know if I've actually mentioned this, but I tend to rely on decals for some of the color separation in my build. So I really wanted to kind of step away from that briefly on these kits and really go for a high gloss, high finish, decal-less build.
And it looks great. And for the metallic colors, like you mentioned earlier on that you were using Alclad, are you still using that with these builds?
So for these, I believe I had used Mr. Color GX mostly, as well as a little bit of Gaia here and there. So the golds were Gaia, the blues and the that stuff was Mr. Color GX.
Do you also cover, like, do you top coat also the metal finish, or do you tend to like paint everything and then do the metal finish afterwards to keep that shine without having to coat it? Because I find sometimes it dulls it, right?
Yeah, it really depends on what I want to achieve. If I'm looking to do a metallic finish, then yes, I have to absolutely leave it without a top coat, because it will, like you said, it dulls it and it loses that luster, or a little bit of luster.
That shine.
However, so but if I want to go for like a high reflective chrome finish, then a nice aqua coat usually does the trick for me, and that seals the chrome in there and keeps that reflectivity.
Nice. And again, loving the detail on this one, the design. Again, with very, very intricate like details and all that stuff, how would you like, I guess, work on like fine details? Like, do you use like a super thin brush? Have you used toothpicks, like, just to get the flow going?
I've used my preference is more toothpicks, honestly, just because I feel like I have better control. But for these, I definitely used a little bit of a small brush, and then using a little bit of enamel thinner to kind of wipe those away. Kind of like a pseudo reverse wash, though not necessarily a reverse wash, because I was trying to clean it up. But yeah, I mean, I try not to limit myself to just one method if I absolutely can. So.
What did you think of the fit on this one? Did you do a review as well with this kit?
I did. I was building this thing. I was very frustrated with it, just because of how long everything was taking, I was doing a candy overcoat on this thing, and it was just,
Right.
obviously waiting for that to dry and putting it together, getting marks and kind of smears of your fingers all over it, and just trying to keep this thing clean was a big problem. So, but apart from that, man, it was fun to build. Definitely a lot of details to bring out, and then it's more or less the same thing with the Bell Yukimura, albeit with a few improvements.
Mhm.
And this thing was a great kind of starting off base for what Model Bingo were trying to do, and then the Bell
So-
was kind of an absolute improvement.
For Model Bingo, for those who might not be familiar with it, can you like just do a quick description of what it is about?
Model Bingo. Model Bingo is the company that designed these conversion kits. So
No, I
if
know.
you've-
Sorry, like let me rephrase that. Like, how is this your first Model Bingo kit? Sorry, like, have you used them before? In other, have they released other stuff before? I'm not familiar with them. That's why.
Oh, sure. So this was my first Model Bingo build, but wasn't my first Model Bingo kit.
Okay.
They had released other stuff way before this, but this was kind of their first line of this whole kind of Asian samurai, almost Sengoku period era kind of aesthetic. So this was definitely something that was like had a lot of people kind of very excited to try. So I really wanted to kind of give my opinion on it.
Nice. And actually, final thoughts on this one. Like when I was asking about the review, did you like the experience aside for like afterwards? Like did you eventually say, okay, yeah, it's not bad, or do you still think that it's a challenging kit to work with?
Looking back on it, it was definitely challenging just because a lot of those pieces were singular pieces. That shoulder piece was just one piece. Obviously the front skirts and the top bits of the shoulders were all one piece. So it was hard enough to kind of get those details to pop, but also to get those pop cleanly, while making sure that the candy overcoat on some of the other pieces looked good was a challenge in itself. And then putting this together, it wasn't as innovative as I would have liked. It was very kind of, it wasn't thought like it, they didn't kind of think things through, if that makes any sense. And then the proportion changes on the legs was also a big problem. So yeah.
Wow. And continuing on with that Sengoku, the samurai. The next one here is also is it the same brand for that kit?
This was this was their follow up to that lost build. And they had listened to feedback and they've made the very, very good improvements in terms of how things go together and even like the stability of, because this thing has frame changes. They changed some of the frame out to be able to accept some of these new pieces, and just the changes that they applied to this thing to make sure that everything went together well was fantastic.
Again, I love the details of this one, especially like it's definitely different from all the other resin kits in regards to the style. The color scheme you went with is that nice like ashtray kind of like red and gold color for it. What did you like the most about building this one then?
This was just the design on this thing was absolutely beautiful. Like those shoulder shields, the head crest, just everything about this was just aesthetically pleasing. And I just wanted to make sure that the color scheme, while it's it is kind of Yukimura's color scheme in Sengoku Basara, that it absolutely complemented the aesthetic that this thing was going for. So I really wanted to make sure that was on point, and I want to say I did it, but who knows?
Right on. The next photo here, just having them side by side, and is it RIP for both of them, or was it just the blue that got sacrificed?
It's both of them.
Oh, my bad, man. Holy cow. They look beautiful. Pictures do tend to last forever or as long as they're alive. And do you plan on, if you get a chance to get the resin kits again, get all the materials and ingredients for this again, would you redo it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I had a ton of fun building these things. Knowing what I know now, because I feel like that's another thing I would always tell people: just never stop learning. The things I feel like I would have developed from when I built this to now, I think I would have done honestly a better job than I did when I made these.
Awesome. The next couple of slides here, unicorn. It's a big one. The PG unicorn. Yeah. Well, what can we do with this one? We're gonna see if we can knock out as much as we can on the next couple of slides as well. So we're gonna try to get through all of them.
Let's speed through this. So this was the perfect grade unicorn, Dragon Momoko, another commission. I was very fortunate to be able to work on this just because it's such a rare kit these days. This also had it was another third-party add-on that allowed you to have a clear cycle frame. So it gave you the option of changing out the different colors and not just have like the pink or the green final battle one. So this was just a practice in getting as much detail out of the kit without having to remove or without having to scribe details in. So this was already already had plenty of detail, and it was just trying to make sure that those things were kind of brought out without having to have such a drastic change in color scheme. So I kind of stuck with different shades of very light gray and white, as well as a little bit of blue to highlight some of those smaller details, and then obviously letting the kit's details on stock speak for itself.
Now here, the first thing I noticed, obviously, with this kit is the LED lights. I'm working on one right now for the MGEX, and that's, man, it's a pain. How is it like working with LED? Do you enjoy working with LED wires built in like this?
Like in terms of like the phase, the stage of where I'm at in kind of like the way I build, LEDs aren't as much of a prominent thing nowadays, but some builds I feel like they are absolutely necessary, and you'll see that in a couple more builds. But I try to be very minimal when it comes to LEDs. I feel like less is more. As I say this in the fucking giant room full of LEDs.
I was gonna say, you mean like the giant LEDs you got going on there? I think you missed a spot in the top corner.
I missed one over here somewhere. Right, I gotta fix that corner. But yeah, like less is more with kits, and if you can use it to emphasize something, then I think that's mission accomplished. If you're using it to just cover stuff up, then I don't think that's any good.
So I'm not sure if you mentioned earlier, but like, was this for just like a personal build, or was it like commission competition?
This was a commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody just wanted the PG unicorn. I was like, okay, sure, let's do it.
Now, like, you've worked with many scales, but do you have like a preferred scale to work with?
Oh, 1/100 all day. I don't have the biggest hands. I also don't have the smallest. And I feel like 1/100 is the perfect scale for these nice little Asian fingers. So.
I'm sure that's the only thing that's small. Okay, let's
Boy, I swear.
It looks beautiful, by the way. The finish looks really great. But the thing is, like, again, the accent color mainly is coming in from the LEDs, and it does change like colors. Is it only like red? Is it all spectrum, or is it like a limited type of LEDs for this?
It is. Sorry, there's a train outside. It is. It's like a different. It's a spectrum. Like, it changes a heck of a lot of colors. So you can see. I mean, without having a video of this thing, it changes into different colors constantly. So it's a whole spectrum of different colors.
Nice. All right, next up on list. This one is a dual team. Again, similar to what you did for the two Sengoku builds. Looking really good. We're back to this. These are high grades now.
These are high grades, yeah. So again, this was a practice in an evolution of taking a design and evolving it into something more, but without having to change what they basically are. So these things were from the Build Diver series, right? And
right, yeah.
Yeah, these things were such an incredible waste of potential.
What do you mean by waste of potential?
Like, they could have gone any direction with these guys, and yet they went with the most generic and the most kind of mundane, want to say redesign of these kits, because they use the impulse, kind of the HG impulse base. So I really wanted to kind of just kind of take it and take that design and again take it to that next level, take that evolution, take that step, one with kit bashing and then another with more scratch building than kit bashing. So it's like a flip-flop of the two.
Do you enjoy working with resin more or scratch building more, or like I guess like kit bashing and scratch building?
I like my children equally, Ariel.
No preference on that. All right.
Zero preference.
Zero
No,
preference.
it just depends on it depends on my mood, and it depends on what I'm building, on if I want to build something cool. I build resin kits because I appreciate their design. I appreciate the way they look. I kit bash because I have a design in mind. So it's like, it just depends on my mood.
When you're trying to get inspiration or trying to like get ideas out from your noggin, do you tend to use like stuff like Pinterest? Do you collect images? Like where do you go to like get those creative juices going?
Oh gosh. So definitely not Pinterest. I don't usually use Pinterest all that often. I use it sometimes. My wife uses it quite a lot to get recipes and stuff. I don't really use it for Gunpla. I kind of take a lot of my inspiration from game design. So places like ArtStation, Blender Nation. I take a lot of my, like I said earlier, with the 3D modeling, where it's starting to meld with what I work with. Inspiration for the 3D modeling is now kind of starting to apply to the stuff that I do here. So that's kind of where I get some of my ideas, whether or not it's color schemes or what shade of purple I'm going to use today. So it really just depends.
Looking great. I also love the contrast in colors between the two. You have the hot and the cold colors going through them. Was that the original intent that you were going for with the color scheme?
Yeah, so I kind of watched build divers and kind of got a feel for the pilots of these two suits, and both had a very different kind of feel. One was a very kind of very passionate dude. The other one was a very ice cold person. So I just took those two personalities and go, how can I reflect those in these builds? And yeah, that's kind of how I got these.
Looks really great, by the way. One is like definitely like guns, and the other one is more like melee type, and the contrast is really, really awesome. So for the kit bash parts, like did you use kits from your bin, or did you went out to grab parts? Like I noticed some of them are from the Reginlays, the other ones are like it was Kotobukiya for the Gatling gun.
Yeah, so you're right about the Reginlays. So the Reginlays right there is the wings that I use, the side skirts, parts of the front of the torso. But the Gatling gun was part Kotobukiya, part Bandai HG option part thing that I put together, and then obviously the drum and the ammo roll were Kotobukiya as well. And then the tank on top of the rail gun was part of the original gun that the arc came with, and I put it on there with a magnet because I like tanks on my guns.
Looking great. Maybe a couple of points for people that are trying to get into kit bash and all that stuff. Like, what would you recommend to maybe a couple of points when they're just starting to put together their first kit bashes?
Sure. I guess the biggest tip I'd like to give is don't be afraid to do everything. Like, just it's hard to kind of see how things go together without you trying to apply them. So don't be afraid to just go ahead and do it. If even if you have to start with a pencil and a sheet of paper to draw up an idea, kind of do that and run with it. I think honestly that is my biggest tip, because kit bashing and all that stuff, it's such a broad spectrum of different things that you can do. It's hard to kind of just pinpoint like a specific tip. So just don't be afraid.
Awesome. That's really great. Now, changing gears up a little bit on this one, we have some head bust going on here of the, what is this, the Double Zeta? No,
It is the double Z.
let's say a double
It
Zeta.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because
yeah.
it's the big cannon thing on the front there. Awesome.
Right.
So this is like
exactly.
one. Is this 148, 135th? I keep forgetting which. Is.
This is 135th.
Nice.
I want to say.
Is this your first head job?
Yes, this was my first headshot. Yes.
Oh right, yeah, right. Yes, that kind of shot. We are so not getting monetized for this show, guys. That's it. Tune in next week. We're done.
Call it a night. No, this was my. This was. God, I can't believe I did it. I can't believe I did the show. No, this was my first like full resin bust. Like I had never really done a bust before. I was really interested, just because the details are completely different in terms of scale. So I really wanted to try something, and kind of, I mean, it looks cool as hell too. So I just wanted to kind of mess with it and see how far I could take it. Yeah, a whole bunch of details like the wiring and stuff like that on the base was a pain in the butt, but I think it came out okay. There are definitely things about this that I wish I could have brought out more, like stuff on the neck, a lot on the top of the head, that base. I don't know, the LEDs could have also been applied a little bit better here, but overall I think it came out okay.
So aside from the wiring though, again, awesome details here. I'm assuming like most of these now are hand painted. Like what type of like brushes do you tend to lean on when you're doing like your fine details?
So more recently, I've been using a lot of God Hands Kamiyasu brushes. Those have been pretty great for applying very small details, just because they come in different shapes and different sizes. Some of those are even like for specific jobs, like painting eyebrows and stuff like that. So stuff like that has been really nice for applying small details. But you know, when I made this kit, I was just using the cheap $5 brushes that I was getting from Hobby Towns.
Nice. And this is obviously a bigger scale than the other ones. Were you concerned that like you know, like sorry, if people are working on a bigger scale kit like this, like what would your advice would be for, like, you know, when they're tackling a bigger, like, do you need to prepare more paint? Do you need to you know, take it apart further, paint it section by section, like something about like this is obviously not something that everybody tends to build all the time, right? I'm just kind of curious like what your take is on it.
When you're building something of this scale, make sure you apply details in that scale. You know, obviously when people are building kits, usually they're doing 1/144, 1/100, 1/60 scale. You know, when you're doing something this large, make sure that when you're choosing what details to bring out, that it doesn't betray the scale of what you're building. Otherwise, the details just don't look right.
The chat is definitely lively. Shout out to everybody there. We had John Lynn, we have Tim, we have Julio, we have Brian. Let's see here. We got Tex. Oh man, it's just, guys, happy Saturday night. What are y'all drinking, by the way? We should have brought some booze. I don't know. I know you're drinking, man. I should have grabbed
something. They're definitely drinking something blue. I'm telling you now, they're definitely drinking something blue.
Awesome. And the lights on the eyes look awesome, by the way. Like, I love it when it's all lit up like that.
Thank you. And I don't know if you notice, if you actually if you look at the head crest, that also is lit up.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I see it right there.
Yeah.
Do you are these rare kits to find, like these resin casts? Do you think they tend to be rare when people try to get them?
It really, so with this one specifically, the Double Zeta was very rare to get. So they did one run and then just never did it again. So I guess that's another tip for if you're wanting to start resin. If you want to start resin, just get the one that you want as soon as you can, even if you don't build it, just because there's no guarantee that these would ever be made again, just because it's usually just one or a couple of people building it, and they're kind of funding up the costs, and sometimes it just doesn't seem worth it for them to make another run if it didn't sell well. So
right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're getting some awesome, interesting stories now for the next couple of builds. This one is your, I believe the Exia one. The is it Amazing or Dark Matter? I'm forgetting which one.
It's the Amazing.
The Amazing one. And again, resin kit on this one, and you have a story for this. Like this is part of this is something that when I asked you, it's like, hey, what kit do you want me to use for the ad? And you're like, oh, definitely Exia. Now I'm kind of curious, why the Exia?
So the Exia, I want to say is the how do I put this into words? The Exia is the kit that I most associate with all of these crazy ass people in the chat right now. So you got Tim and Tex and Julio and all those guys. Whenever I see this kit, I think of, or see the Exia, that is who I think of. It's personally one of my favorite builds, if not my favorite build period. Just because of who it allowed me to meet and who it allowed me to become friends with. Because I took this kit to SCGMC, and I had gotten second place in the advanced 1/100 category with this, and even though that was cool, that wasn't what my takeaway was. It was the friendships that I had made at that place. And this kit will forever be a memory and a reminder of that.
Before we get to the question, some of the details, because obviously it's an amazing kit. I love the base on this one. When you did go to the convention, how was it? What was it like there? What was like the environment and feel? And who were some of the first people that you met in the said crew?
So I like to travel alone. This is actually quite an interesting story. I don't think these guys heard of it. I like to travel alone. So initially Z was like, hey, let's you, me, Kyle, who's Combat Builder, all travel together and hang out and stuff like that. I was like, no, thank you. I'm going to travel alone. And so I went ahead and traveled to Pomona, California, where this SCGMC was held in 2019.
Right.
And I was kind of just exploring the city on my own and kind of just taking it, because this was the first time I had visited California. I had never visited California in my entire life, and I was like, oh wow, this is California. Wow, look at mountains, because I'm from Illinois, and
can I add something to that? So the whole traveling alone, I do enjoy doing that. I travel alone for work as well. About 3 years ago, when I first started this company, I was put on a plane weekly to New Brunswick. So I was in the airport almost like 2-3 days a week, flying in and out. But like, I do enjoy traveling alone. But when the California one, that's where I could relate the most. When I first saw, because we don't have mountains here too. I've never seen like palm trees or like mountain, like that kind of like scenario. And like I went out and hugged a tree literally, just because like, wow, this is so freaking awesome.
Living in the UK, I'm used to, because I used to climb one mountain a year. It was Ben Nevis, and I was used to seeing all that stuff. Then moving to Illinois, and it's all just flat farmland and corn and soy, and I'm like, what? Like, this is terrible. And then going to California, I was like, oh my god, another mountain! Thank God, I haven't seen a mountain in so long. Like,
right?
What does this look like? Yeah, and that's kind of like, yeah. So anyway, I can't remember what was in the story. So seeing California for the first time and all that stuff, just taking in the sights, eating food and all that stuff, and I was like, oh man, I should probably get some rest, because I'm gonna be going to SCGMC, seeing all these other guys, and I was also a guest judge for a category over there. So I wanted to get enough rest, and then I'm going to swear, just a quick preface, just to warn you, Ariel.
Yep.
I get so I'm laying in bed and I'm about to fall asleep, and this is, I'm an old man at heart, and this is only like 8 o'clock at night, and I was about to fall asleep, and then I get a text from Tim, Child of Mega. He was like, what was it? I can't remember his exact words. It was like, bitch, get over here, I think was his exact words. I was like, go over where? I don't know where you are. And then say, we're all at the hotel, come over here, we're all hanging out. Nice. And and finally we get there, and I get there, and we all start to hang out, and I have a drink or something like that, and I may have, that was the very first time that those guys, because whenever I drink is when the British accent came
Kicks
out.
in.
Yeah, and that was the first time they heard it, and they were like, "Who is this person?
Oh,
What
we're
is
drinking with
happening?"
Prince Charles right now.
Yeah, like hold on, hold the phone. Who is this? Like they I don't think they really knew who I was, and the problem was I don't remember any of this because they had to tell me that story. But the preface of this was I wanted to travel alone, and I saw California. I had done all of these things, I had eaten and stuff like that, and they didn't know that I had done all that before going to see them, and that's why I wasn't eating or doing too much because I was already tired by the time I had gone to meet
You've done
everyone.
your own adventure pretty much, like the adventure
Exactly.
of Chris Pabs in the
I had
West.
I had my own solo little homeward bound kind of adventure with the Labradors and the dogs and stuff. Yeah. Right.
Right on. Now circling back on this build right here, awesome build by the way. I love the light effect that you did on the base. Can you talk a little bit about like the build itself and the base? What can you share?
So the Uja Land, actually amazing. Is just that not to take the name for granted, but it was an amazingly fun build. It had so much detail to bring out, and this, apart from the emotional kind of attachment I have with this, this was a genuinely fun build. Just a heck of a lot of masking, a lot of finishes. So this build, I really wanted to challenge myself and apply everything I had learned from 2016 up to 2019. Kind of learning where I feel my skills should be at this point, and see if I can actually do the thing I was trying to do or set out in the first place when I was like, yes, I can do that. My ambition will take me there, and this is kind of where it took me. So this thing has a bit of everything from custom details to scratch building or parts of the base, and obviously the masking and the custom paint scheme, the different finishes with the color shifting on the GN drives, and I wanted to make the absolutely cleanest build I could at that time, and this is kind of what I came up with.
Oh, it's definitely clean, man. Like even the part separation, color separation looks amazing. There's multi-tones of blue too. Now that I'm like looking into it a little bit closer, because like from like far away, you tend to miss the details. What category would this have been entered in the contest?
For SCGMC 2019, this was Advanced 1100. No, wait, hold on. 1100, Advanced 1100 non-UC.
Non-UC, got it.
Non-Universal Century.
And obviously, I had some questions on the base. Was this like pre-made or did you scratch?
So the base itself was the G base. It was like a third-party base, but it didn't have all of these. It didn't have all of these details, so I kind of added the custom stuff in there.
Nice. Looks really well. The next photo here is the I guess your placement. You placed was that silver?
Yeah, I placed second in my category. Was completely unexpected, but it was a nice surprise. So
why do you mean it's unexpected though?
I mean, there were some amazing builds over there. Like, I was judging the experts category as well as the, I think, theme. No, I don't quite remember, but looking at everybody's builds, there were some really amazing builds. I mean, people from like Donnie Art Inc. by DB, from Mikey, Gundam Works. There was one by Urag Gunplow Gary. So just off the top of my head, just a couple of the builds I was that stood out to me. But there were some really cool builds. So to hear my name be mentioned, to be second place, I was like, holy cow! Like, I wasn't expecting that. I just wanted to bring something cool, and it was cool.
Awesome. What's it called here? Lots of photos still to go through. Do you want to see if we can skip it to the Zep one, because that one looks interesting? We were talking about Zep earlier on, and that leads to the Dynamis.
Yeah, we're at 3 hours. Let's just roll through.
Hang on, here we go. So Zep, we were talking about that earlier on. Is it in Fast 505? Again, this is like your cleaner that you would use to get your resin done up, right?
Yeah, so this is the it's called Z505, and this was introduced to me by Mr. Child of Mecha over here. This is a industrial strength degreaser that works a lot better than Purple Power, which is another American product over here, which is also an industrial strength degreaser. However, ZEP just works a lot faster than Purple Power does, and this allows you to remove any kind of mold release that that a lot of companies will use to make sure that the casting is removed from these molds. And this is an example of me using it on the Stickler Studio Dynamics, which I had built in conjunction with Galactic Toys and Finishes, as they had struck up a deal where Galactic Toys would now be stocking finishes for the first time in the US. So they just wanted something. They wanted a cool build to kind of put that together.
Where did they usually sell them from? Is it Asia or is it Europe side?
So Finishes was strictly a Japan only company, and technically they still are, but Galactic Toys were kind of able to break them down and say, yeah, let's stock a few in the US and see how well it goes. And the Zach at Galactic Toys were very cool. Was a very cool dude, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to make something cool with this. Let's see what we can make with these paints." And this is what we came up with.
Looks great, by the way. Oh, sorry, just going back to this one. I have not built the Dynamis yet, and having seen this now, I don't know if I want to build a regular one because with all these details on it. I do have a question. The resin color is different than the ones we were using before, the yellow or the off-white yellow kind of thing. Do you find that there's any big difference between this material and the previous material?
Yeah, so different resin designers will use different kind of chemical combinations for their resin. Stickler Studios are really well known for that kind of bright orange thing. Mostly because they are taking very, very small details, and it seems like their resin is really good at picking up those small details. And they also are one of the very first kind of companies to do the whole 3D print and then casting those 3D prints. So that might have something to do with the colors that they're using.
Right. Okay.
But in terms of quality, I'm not really seeing anything too different. I have noticed that there are some kind of fragility issues with the orange resin, but nothing too major.
Nice. From Skyers over here at Twitch, woodwarts, please. And I think we are getting to that. This one is a fun build too, because I remember seeing this one, but on the final stage. Here are some the work in progress build for it. What can you tell us about the woodward here?
This was both a fun and extremely excruciatingly frustrating build.
Is this before the P Bandai that came out, or is this after the P Bandai has came out?
This was after the P Bandai came out. However, this is a 1/100 scale wound war.
Oh, right, gotcha.
So okay, this isn't very small. This is actually quite large. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. This is it right there, but
holy cow!
This was a really cool, fun kit to build, despite its drawbacks. So this is kind of where I was talking about making sure the surface detail is good. The surface detail on this thing was not very good at all.
When you meant surface detail, is it not enough groove? Is it like misalignment? Corners are not sharp. What kind of detail?
So stuff like that is your typical kind of issues. The casting was, the mold had been used so many times that now the casting just isn't very good anymore. The details are shallow and a little bit muddy in places. It's not as sharp as it used to be. So stuff like that. But for this one, they had made a mistake where they casted something from a mold, then took out the casting. But then there was a small layer of resin left, and then they started casting even more. So this caused micro cracks all over the surface of this thing.
Oh.
And it was the most frustrating thing, because there was just so much surface prep and sanding on this guy to make it nice and clean and be able to look good. So apart from that, it was a lot of fun to build, and also a lot of effort just to get it to,
I was gonna say,
look now.
There's a lot of details on this one, and a lot of these I find what are there one piece that you're going in there and detailing it?
Yeah. It's all most of it was just one blocky piece, so I just had to just detail, and then even then I also had to scribe in details that weren't originally there. So there was some I don't know if you have the legs pictures, but I had to scribe some legs up on some details on those just because it was just one giant slab of resin and I didn't particularly like that. So
oh my god. The next ones are like the final shots on this one, and you went with the classic colors on this. Are you still using well, hang on, like the panel separations and all that stuff? I was just looking at the color scheme of this one. I really like starting to see like the color pop that you mentioned earlier on, because like that's something I guess a lot of people that overlook it too, like when they're doing their colors, that like, yeah, adding those little details, even how minute or small they are, changes the whole playing field, because your eye then gets tickled to seeing like, hey, there's a detail there. It could be just like an offset color and all that. So
it's nice to have visual interest as you move down from so naturally when you're looking at a something interesting, you start from the top and you make your way to the bottom, and you want to make sure that people are stopping at certain points and looking at the details that you've applied to this thing. So if you're looking at something that's all just white or it's all just black, that's not gonna, you're not gonna be able to keep them visually interested in what you've just made. So it's nice to have a little bit of break every now and then to give you that, oh, there's a,
that's the like what I was just looking forward to. There we go.
Yeah.
Or like this is the weapon as well, right? Yeah.
It's the weapon. So if you move down a little bit, you'll see that the custom scribes on the legs right there.
So these guys here, the separating.
Yeah, the separating, because back then, with the original resin kit, it was all just one slab of resin. There was no separation whatsoever.
My God, that's a lot of details, man. How was it scribing resin though? Is it the same as scribing in plastic, or do you find there's a little bit more resistance to it?
There is a little bit more resistance just because it's usually just a thick piece of something, right? Unless you're scribing up a thinner piece of resin. But usually with these guys, it was a little bit different just because it was one giant slab. So it allowed you to be a little bit more heavy-handed, whereas usually you have to be quite light.
Nice. Again, awesome build here. I forgot if I asked this as well. This was like a fun build for you, or is this like part of a commission as well?
This was just a personal build. This was something I wanted to do. Kyle and Manny wanted to build this, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's build it together. And we started building it, and Kyle gave up, and then Manny gave up, and then I just ended up doing it myself.
Oh, there you go. Pab's doing it by himself. Nice. Let's continue on the H2 Magnum. I love this kit, by the way. And again, like back to the divers, I was hoping that they were gonna do a whole bunch of master grades from that series. Like I was waiting for the 00 Sky. I was waiting for even the Ace Diver. I would have taken that, but I think the only master grade that we got is just the Magnum, right?
Yeah, so it was just I think the MG Magnum for the Build Diver series. Yeah, I was the only MG, and I mean it's a great MG, but I really do wish we had a little bit more.
Right. So what's briefly on this guy here? Like, is this a fun build? Is this a challenge build? Speed build?
This is a preview of a resin conversion kit that's not been released yet.
Oh snap!
Talking on the show.
Can we even show this? Are we allowed to show this?
Absolutely, we can show this. Yes.
Hey guys.
So this is a resin kit from Simpro that I am working in conjunction with him to get out and release. So if you guys are big fans of H2 Magnums, this is essentially just a detail up kit. So this has more scribe lines. This has more detail than the regular kit release. So this was just a quick preview, making sure that it looks cool.
It looks cool. It looks amazing. What are you talking about, man? How much would you say percentage-wise you need the Magnum for? Or can you use the H2 in lieu of the Magnum?
You need quite a bit of the H2 actually. I mean, apart from taking away from the armor parts that you still need from the H2 Magnum, you also need like the improved knee joint from the H2 Magnum, because the regular H2 has these terrible knees that would just buckle and move like kind of that weird forward motion, like,
right,
because of the transformation joint. So I would recommend you, once this comes out, definitely use the H2 Magnum. But technically, if you really wanted to, you can use the H2 normal or the H2 bullet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like it's both kits right now are very scarce and rare to find until they do the reprint. But I think it's coming up I know the age high grades have been popped up last month or last 2 months, but the master grades have not dropped yet. Quick question: do we know when this is dropping? Available for purchase?
Very soon.
Very soon.
So,
All right.
yeah, so we're just waiting on the instruction manuals that I have to finish.
So this is now using your work, like this one right here, as the like I guess manual and like the sample shots for it.
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. Looks really great, by the way. And again, I love the Magnum, love the color scheme on this one. But like the detail up, yes, this is a yes for me, guys. This might be my first resin if I get my hands on it. And see how hot this pepper is gonna sell.
I mean, it's a really nice kit, honestly. Even before, even taking away that I'm helping work on it. It's a really nice and simple resin kit. So if you guys want to get into resin kits, this might be a good one. I usually recommend stuff like the RG Sazabi or the RG New and stuff like that. But this is also a nice simple kit to kind of dig your teeth into and kind of get those details out. So it's might as well give it a shot.
Absolutely. And yeah, Chris, okay, I'm looking forward to getting, like I said, like when this is gonna drop. It looks amazing. The paint job is awesome as well. Is there anything heads up wise that might be challenging for this?
Definitely the knees. The fronts of those knees could be an issue. Also, if you're going to transform this kit, just be very, very careful. Just because there are certain changes on the torso that make it a little bit harder to transform, but also make it a little bit sturdier when it is transformed.
Oh wait, this can transform still into
this can still this can still technically transform. I don't show it here, but it can still transform.
Awesome. More and more points to getting that. Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing the release on this one. Thanks for showing us, Chris, this preview. And here's the back side of this one. Again, I love that orange. You got to tell me your formula for this, because like I might want to try that.
Sure, why not, man? I mean that's always public knowledge, so I can send that to you. No problem.
Nice. Here's a little bit more detail on this one, guys. Looking really good on that. The next kit up on deck. This one here is like a really cool custom, by the way. This is for SCGMC 2020 now. This is now 1 year after your Exia Amazing. What are you bringing to the table this time around?
So this is the Stickler Studio 1/100 scale Quant Knight conversion. This was a really quick, I want to say quick build. Like it took me like 2 months maybe. And I wanted to get it done for SCGMC. I've always been wanting. I've had this thing planned out for SCGMC up until we found out, because of the current situation, it was going to be online only, all that stuff. Plans had to change, and I really wanted to put this together. I really wanted to make an asymmetrical kind of a mobile suit. Kind of having that kind of color scheme. So that was the plan for this thing, and just a lot of fun and just a fun build. And that's kind of my the first and foremost thing that I like doing when I build is to have fun. So this was definitely a fun one.
Wow, that again, these are really cool. But they're all single block pieces as well from the looks of it. So that's a lot of masking, I could imagine, going on for this.
That middle bit was one giant single piece, but like the bottoms and the fins were all separate. So those were quite relatively easy to work with, but that middle bit was not, for sure.
From Julio, that resin looks like soft skin. You would know, eh, Julio?
Ooh, boy.
So looking at the rest of the soft skin armor, look on this. Oh no, we're definitely getting there. I need a drink after this. It's gonna be. What is the quanta for this one, right? For the under armor frame for it.
This could have used like the regular 1/100 master grade or the 1/100 full saber. So it could have been either or. So it can be yeah, we could use either one of those frames, and I went ahead and just used the regular Quanta. Actually, quick FYI, this was the very first kit I bought after being back in Gunpla. I was on vacation in the Philippines. I was at Green Hills, and I saw this kit and I was like, oh man, it looks cool. I'll take it.
You know what's funny? That's the last kit I bought in the States, physically.
Whoa.
So it was the Full Saver's the one I bought, and I was at Anaheim for BlizzCon. And again, I don't know much about the local Gundam Store. I actually had to go on my phone and like look at where to go from there. So we drove like 20 minutes out, and that's the first time I saw the Quanta Full Saber, and I was like, I don't know what the price conversion rate was, but I was already there and I already had some money with me that are like American. So I'm like, all right, let's go drop some coin on this. And yeah, like you're obviously a big fan of like the swords and the XCS and all that stuff. Like, did you eventually build the whole thing first, or do you just build the parts you need in order for you to like put your resin conversion on?
Oh, I always build the kit first. Like I always want to enjoy the kit as is, or as it was intended first, just so that I can get a feel for it.
Right on. And now for the color scheme, you did the asymmetrical. Like, what are some of the things that you could tell people, like if they're trying to do or try to achieve the same kind of effect? Because like there's a lot of like many different ways to tackle it. Like, how did you do yours, and how did you achieve your balance in regards to colors?
It's all about that color flow theory, right? So if you're moving up and down into the kit, you want to make sure that it is still visually interesting and that there is a balance between the two colors. Even if one side is supposed to be one color, the other side is supposed to be another color, it's okay to kind of have that other color be touched upon on the other side, just so that you have a nice flow of it. So if you look at that Quanta, like if you're looking at it from the red side, you're still seeing parts of the white. It's not like it's just suddenly changed into something else. It's you wanting that flow as you move from the head to the tail. Nice.
I noticed here that there were some interesting glow up parts. Did you use any type of fluorescent on this one, or like the luminescent? Oh man, I can never get that name. What's that thing where you put the UV and it like?
I mean, I just call it UV reactive, but yes, fluorescent is probably the right thing. I did use some fluorescent paints for this thing. So I used some fluorescent green clear paint for the GN drives, and then some fluorescent green on other parts of the shoulders and the torso and the legs and stuff like that. Nice. And then I also used UV reactive decals. So those also shine and pop whenever you have the UV light on them.
And those UV decals, are they like, I'm assuming they're third party, but like, do you have like a go-to for those guys, or that you could recommend?
I usually get mine from Simpro.
Okay. Nice. I love the color scheme on this one. Again, red and white. Red makes this thing go 3 times faster, but it's only half. Does that mean is it 1.5 faster?
It's like 1.5. The white slows it down by at least 1.75.
Oh man, looking great here. I love the ears. Like the ears, like the V. What do we call this? Side armor fins?
Yeah, I guess. So the guys, Tim and Tex and stuff like that. They've they've called this build my Pabalate book, because it reminds them of Pabalate book for some reason, because of these ears. So yeah, I guess you can call them ears. I mean, I don't know what they are really, but they look cool.
No, it looks really great too. And the fit, obviously, like, do you have any issues with the fit with this one?
Not that I can think of. There were some issues with the elbows, just because they went some weird, innovative way. This is a particularly older kit, probably 2 or 3 years old. Right, so they didn't have like the same kind of innovation of fit as some of the newer stuff. But it was still a lot of fun, and it didn't really cause a lot of issues. The biggest problem would probably be these shields and how they stayed on the back there. So.
Are they like slotted on, or like they're fixed with a glue, or are they movable?
They're movable. However, the arms that keep them in place are what the issue is. So you see, there's a screw right there, and it was just a big nightmare. It was just not a fun time keeping these in one position.
Yeah, like that screw there is kind of like interesting. I mean, it could like be like a metal detail up, but like we know that's a Phillips head right there. Awesome. I love the shots, by the way. Again, different color scheme, like the asymmetrical, depending on where you are, gives it like a again visual interest, as you mentioned earlier on. So if you guys are thinking of doing the asymmetrical look, again, try to look for that balance, try to look for that color play, and yeah, and this is something that you guys could achieve as well on your builds.
Absolutely, I agree.
All right, I think that was our last Gundam. Yeah.
God, I'm so sorry. There's so many.
There's so much wrong with this kit. That's from Tim.
Yeah, he pointed all of those out last week. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god. The next one here, again, guys. Why don't we do a quick, like 1 minute break? I'm gonna go grab some more water because I'm out. And then we will finish it off with like some community talk and some like social media talk in the next bit. So let's see. Try this one out for size. We'll be back with Chris Pabs with some more from Feature Builder here at AO Mecha Live. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ariel from AO Mecha. I just want to let you guys know about all my other social media outlets if you haven't had a chance to check them out at facebook.com/AOMecha, on YouTube, youtube.com/AOMecha, on Instagram, instagram.com/AO_Mecha, on Twitter @AO_Mecha, and on Discord, fairly new. That one is AO_Mecha, #3414. Anyways, hope to hear from you guys through any of those platforms. Feel free to DM me or PM me, as well as emailing me. My email is aomecha.info@gmail.com. Just want to let you guys know that this episode is brought to you by USA Gundam Store. Please check them out, www.usagundamstore.com, and save on your purchases when you use my discount code AOMecha10. All right, let's get back to the show and see what's going on there.
All right, welcome back, guys. If you guys are tuning in, we have definitely gone way more than overtime here, but it's an interesting story. Again, our guest tonight is Chris Pabs. Lots to talk about, lots of resin, lots of weapons, words were exchanged, but we are definitely past the kits. And again, guys, if you are interested in checking more stuff from him, check out Chris Pabs' social media, and they're all in the description below. The next while here, guys, well, before we get to the next couple of last photos here that we want to touch base on, I have some questions on that as well in comments, and lots of little bit stories here and there. I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and also shout out to Synonym for following the channel. This is like 40 minutes ago that they followed. I just saw the feed now, so hey, thank you, welcome. You're probably like half asleep already. Let's see here. Shout out to everybody that's on the chat over at YouTube as well. The usual suspect, your full crew is here in full support. I just want to say thank you, guys. Chris is definitely a wonderful person to have and have talk with, and like just learn, like seeing and learning from what he has gone through in his journey. Very, very inspirational. So hopefully the guys that are new to the channel or have just first heard of Chris Pabs and his work, you guys get inspired and motivated to do some resin. How about that?
Yeah.
Some resin builds, right?
Honestly, I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That has always been what I've been telling people. If you can do it, if I can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, climb Mount Everest. Pabs has done it. Wait, what has he? I don't know.
I definitely have not done it.
Critical builds. This critical
builds.
How about a brief background, history, and maybe it's like some highlights from your show and this when you stream it.
Sure. So Critical Builds is something a show that we stream not every Saturday, but some Saturdays, usually once a month. And it's a kind of a viewer driven show where people can submit their builds to a panel of people that you see on screen with myself, Kyle, Julio, Z, and Brian, Bro Builder. And we talk about the build. We try to give it as constructive a criticism as possible, right. without it being a roast. We're not trying to be negative. We just try our best to kind of help anybody out who wants to be helped out. So that's kind of the main basis of the show. And you know, it's been such a fun show to work on and to be a part of. It's been it's been so great. Like the people that we interact with on a regular basis on the show has been wonderful. They've been some of the best people to talk about it, because not only do we get to give criticism or good criticism or constructive criticism to the builds, but the people who are watching do it too. And it's just been the feedback has just been so great, and we want to keep going, and hopefully we can keep going. So
nice. And don't forget, guys, to check them out. Again, all the the links are in the description below. Question for you on your show here. When you first started, like, do you remember some of the earlier kits that you guys received? Was there what would you say would be the most memorable part of your first episodes?
Oh god. So some of the stuff was there's a HG Maganac that we had somebody submit for a critique that had the omit senses. They also there was also a bunch of submissions from one Freddy was wrong, a bunch of very wrong things that should not be shown, very very wrong stuff. And there was the whole debacle with Zishan Z and the marbling made by Mr. Miguel Crespo, Gunpla, which was supposed to be a feature, but for some reason Z decided, oh no, I'm going to make this a critique and called it a fail. And that was honestly that was the harshest critique we've ever had on the show. So
oh my god. The poor guy. Did he cry after? Did you message him? Did you ask him if he was okay after, or like you just said, you know what, he's going to walk it off?
I do believe at some point Miguel was homeless because of this.
And then he moved to Toronto.
He moved to Toronto shortly after. Yes, he did.
There we have here the critical build-up that's currently happening right now, the version core. Can you tell us a little bit about that event and what the dates are for it?
Yeah, so critical build-off has already technically started. So essentially, we wanted to do a build-off where the basics, or the base of the kit itself is just the core Gundam, whether it's the core 2, the SD core Gundam, or the Alice core from the Build Divers Re-Rise series. We wanted we wanted you guys to go all out with the customization, whether it's taking that core and just using the torso and then exploding it with different things. You can use resin, you can use Kotobukiya parts, you can use Bandai parts, you can use 3D printed. Nice. Anything goes.
Open season, do whatever you could create kind of build.
Exactly. Wow. And then for the last 2 episodes of season 2 of Critical Builds, which is what we're going through right now, which there's no date, so we can keep this as open as possible. Right. We will actually go through all of the submissions and judge them, and then announce the winners on the very last episode of Critical Builds. And we already have a whole bunch of prizes, not only from USA Gundam, but also from places like Display A and Galactic Toys. So nice. We want to make sure we reward people who were kind enough to enter this competition. So there you go.
Where can they find the details, or is it just like is it on your social? Is it on your YouTube? Do you just announce it? Like, how are you guys getting people more aware of it?
There is there's more information of it on my Instagram. There's a post about it alongside this graphic right here. So if you guys want more information, just check that out. We've also spoken about it on the first episode of season 2 of Critical Builds, which you guys can find on my YouTube channel as well.
Awesome. Let's continue on. The next images here, again, just hanging out with your crew. These ones here, we have Brian, we have John, and we have Chooch. This is the Kodokai show that Brian hosts. So again, you're also partaking in all these guys. What do you enjoy the most about streaming with these guys, like with the crew?
It's hard to kind of pinpoint what it is that I enjoy the most, just because I enjoy these guys for absolutely different reasons. I enjoy Brian for his kind of thought process on his building. I enjoy John Lin because she's John Lin. How do you even describe
awesome.
John Lin?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got Julio, who's just this very jolly, very tall man.
Very tall man. He's a big spoon. He's a very big spoon. That's what
he's the big spoon, yes. But he's just this bundle of laughter that's so infectious.
Absolutely.
You can't help but laugh alongside him. And you've got more people, obviously. Whenever we stream, you got Z as well, who is, like I said before, is as one of my brothers. I mean, the guy was at my wedding, so he's that guy. And then
there's this guy here. Like, what do you think? What do you think about this guy? I don't know, man. He seems sketch to me. Every time I see this guy and he starts talking and stuff, like, I think it's bullshit, man. I don't know.
He's probably the worst out of all of them, honestly.
Look at this guy. Like, look, he's probably not even paying attention. He's like, yep, I'm gonna paint that.
Legitimately, I was probably rendering something for critical builds when I took this screenshot. So I have no idea what I was doing there.
Mechanism here with Tim Harkins and again the rest of your crew. Very big family, very very awesome crew that you guys got there. What would you say when you started streaming with these guys that you're like, hey, these guys are cool, I'm gonna stick with them? Like, what do you remember that moment where they're like, hey, I like it, this is the tribe, as you mentioned earlier on?
Honestly, I don't think I can kind of just narrow it down to one. It's been a whole bunch of different things. It's I don't know. It just we've kind of this last couple of years. We've just been there for each other throughout almost every step of everything. Honestly, at this point, whether it's a private matter or a personal matter or a Gunpla matter or a hobby thing, whether it's internet drama or whatever, I can genuinely call these guys true friends. They're not in it because we can make each other famous. We're not in it because we want to amplify the amount of likes on our builds. We're here because we are friends with each other, and that's to me the most important thing. And these guys are the personification of that. These guys, I'm proud to call a lot of these guys friends.
Nice.
And I mean, I would take a bullet for a lot of these guys. So
all right, guys, he's getting a lot of brownie points right now, so remember, like, don't forget him when you start sending him stuff later. Speaking of stuff and people, this one, a photo I've seen a million times as well, because like this is a very big and momentous event for you guys. The convention out there on the West you flew out for. Again, like, do you tend to now that you're doing more competitions, do you see yourself doing more competition, or do you see yourself more on the judging side of the competition?
I mean, I can't really say that I can judge if I don't do competitions, right? Like, I feel like it's that's kind of, they go hand in hand. Like, I don't understand how you can judge if you haven't competed. If I do want to judge more, I think I'm gonna have to compete more, honestly. So that's yeah. At least that's my answer for that.
Awesome. And again, like, here's another shot here from the convention that you flew out there from. Do you remember some of like your favorite builds aside from yours, obviously, because like you love your build?
I really don't love my build. So some of the ones that really stood out to me again. So Shane Wong, the Daft Robo's version of the Hyzak was a beautiful piece. It was mostly scratch built and it was just amazing. You've got Art Inc. by DB, Donnie Baxter's build. Which was I'm trying to remember what it was exactly, but that was another thing that really stood out to me. Julio's Turn X was also very impressive. Surprisingly, I was like, holy cow, this thing was actually pretty cool.
Awesome.
It's just some of the things. I mean, there were so many builds, there were so many great things, and just seeing all of them, like Urag Gunpla's Sazabi build, Mike Gundamonium Works' giant Macross build. It was just amazing.
I'm just gonna try to see if I could draw a line here. I think so, because Char's Apprentice just asked, is Pabs taller than Tim?
I am telling you, I am taller than Tim. Nobody believes me. There is physical photographic evidence.
I don't know, man. Kind of hard. We'll let the fans decide who's taller on that one. All right, let's bring it back, guys. That is it for the photos. So Chris sent me more than this. He sent me like freaking 500 or so photos, and he goes, "Yeah, we could use whatever we want." And I'm like, Yes. So I spent most of the day. I trimmed it down to this. I'm like, okay, I think we have 2 hours of show. So guys, shout out to everybody that stayed here from the beginning. You guys are the real troopers. You guys are amazing. Shout out to everybody. I'm watching the chat too, and it's so like, you know, when you were talking about family earlier on, like I see it so clearly, especially with the support that you have with the usuals. Like they're amazing people, and I'm very, very happy to have like met you guys as well, be it through the shows or like following you through on your own respective channels and programs. I just want to say thank you so much for like, you know, one, doing the show, two, keeping, you know, being an inspiration. I think very big inspiration to the community, especially those guys that are like, you know, trying to get into resin, trying to get into customization, just learning paints, and even the again, critical builds and critical your channel. You're just getting that feedback to the right people, you know, with I want to say unbiased comment, with like a really good creative criticism, because like I've seen your shows, I've listened to like, you know, how you guys like point out where improvements can be made, and I think that is very important for people in the community, growing into the community and growing into the hobby. Instead of like, again, there's a lot of like other sites or other communities that probably won't give that directly to them. People will just like get the likes or like get like, oh, that's nice and all that stuff. I really like the feedback portion that you guys do with your respective shows, man.
I mean, that's definitely the goal, right? Like it shouldn't be how many likes you get from your build. I mean, it should be whether you're happy with it or not. Yeah, a lot of people seem to have forgotten that.
Absolutely. So this portion of the show, we're just gonna try to wrap stuff up with like some comments and questions. Earlier on, we were just discussing about streaming, and I think this is one of the topics we wanted to talk about. We were like, I guess there was some questions from my end as well, maybe from your end. You know, if people are trying to start their own stream, because I've just recently streamed. I'm still under a year. You've done it for I think a bit longer than I have, and we have different type of style and presentation and all that stuff. What kind of stuff can you you know, advise people that are thinking of picking up how to, you know, streaming their own shows or their live builds, you know, just so that they could have like some kind of advice moving forward?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I had to learn very quickly was learn how to talk to yourself as you stream. It's very difficult to kind of keep like a cognizant thought going as you're doing something else. That was honestly one of the hardest things I had to learn. And then the next thing is don't expect to blow up overnight. Like streaming is you know, that well, first of all, streaming for me personally is more of a way to spread information from, you know, from your well of knowledge. If I'm helping at least one person out, then that stream was definitely worth doing. You know, so don't expect to have like 1,000 views or you know, 1,000 viewers all at once and suddenly be the successful streamer who does this for a living. If you're doing it for that reason, then I don't think that should be why you're doing it. And then finally, this is a very difficult piece of advice to give, because it took me a long time to realize it too, is to be confident. You know, it's okay to be nervous, but use that nervous energy and turn it into something that helps you continue your trail of thought. You know, use that nervous energy to pay attention to the people asking you questions in the chat or in the audience. Right. Use that energy to keep your energy up, because it can be tiring. We've been for example, we've been streaming for 3 hours, you know, and I still feel nervous. 4 hours, holy cow. Suck it, Tim. Suck it.
Well, we're approaching 4 hours. We're now at 3 hours and 40 minutes officially, but we've connected way earlier than that. So, and all valid points. Chris, do you mind me asking, how long have you been streaming now? Do you recall like when you started?
My very first stream was actually a mechanism. I don't remember which episode it was, but I think it was 2019. So it was. I mean, it was like last year or a year before, maybe 2018. Right. I don't quite remember, but yeah, it was a mechanism episode. Tim asked me if I wanted to join the show, to give it a try. I was like, sure. What do I need? And he was like, a camera, and I didn't have a webcam. I was like, I gotta go out and get a webcam.
I was gonna say, so you went out just to get a Gundam so you could participate in the stream then?
Yeah, I went out and bought like the cheapest webcam I could find, and yeah, I was a nervous wreck. If you guys watched that very first episode of Mechanism and I was showing what I was working on, like my hand would not stop shaking. It just kept like I was trying to show what I was doing, and I was just like yeah, this is what I'm doing. It was terrible. I was a nervous wreck, and hats off to Tim. He really helped me feel comfortable with talking on camera and being on camera and talking on in a stream. So I'll always appreciate Tim for that. But you are still shorter than me, so.
I agree with the personality too, and the diversity of personality, especially if you guys are doing multi-stream, and that's what I liked about all the shows that that is on air right now, be it Mechanism, Kodokai, Critical Builds. It's just like that diverse feel too, because like I noticed that you guys feed off at each other's energy or like feed each other's points and have conversations. Like it's cool to like have, I guess, opinion and just talking out. And to your point, like you do, for me anyways, I tend to talk to myself a lot before the show, because like when I'm streaming, there's no one here. There's no other voice. The only thing really that's keeping me sane is just the music that's playing in the background.
Sure, yeah.
And what's it called? How about for people that are trying to get into the hobby? Maybe a couple of words to like, maybe some advice to like, they've never built a kit before. What should,
Sure.
what could they do to get into it?
Have fun. Enjoy yourself. It's if you picked up the kit and you opened it and you looked at the instructions, then you've already started. You're at step one. It just absolutely enjoy the hobby, because there's something special about this hobby that I mean, it's one of the very few things that allow you to think both creatively, technically, and there's not a lot of hobbies that allow you to do that all at once, and this hobby can absolutely make you do that. And just please enjoy yourself. Don't be afraid of seeing absolutely amazing builds out there or whatever like that. And if my story if you take away anything from my story, it's that it's okay to be ambitious. It's okay not to reach your ambition, but keep trying to reach it, because I mean, you just never know. So definitely keep trying, be ambitious, enjoy yourself, and have fun.
Awesome. Wow. And again, guys, the journey on this one, lots of story, lots of things covered here. Chris, thank you so much for doing the show. I love the hat changes, by the way. Shout out to that. Like that is dedication too.
I have no idea what you're talking about. The hat changes.
Awesome. For people who want to follow you or want to get more information, like I know I have the links on the description, but do you mind telling the fine folks over here in YouTube and Twitch where they could find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram. It's Chris_Pabs. That's kind of where I'm mostly active. If you guys want to see like work in progress photos or any new resin kits that I'm working on, I'm currently working on a U-Gel Land High Nu, which is probably one of the bigger things that's going to take up a lot of my time. You guys can also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Red Suns, R3D 5UNZ. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it. Like, okay, Chris, like everything else is branded. And don't forget the Q5155725X. That's two X's, not one.
So yeah, Red Suns was an initial D thing. I was a big initial D fan back in the day. And the 3D was lead speak, I guess, back in the day. So I wish I could change it, but yeah, I mean, I wish I could change it. YouTube won't let me anymore. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys want to watch any past episodes of any of the live streams I've done, whether it's solo or critical builds, you guys can find it all there. We're really trying to set, lift that platform up and show how helpful this show can be. So if you guys would want to check it out, it's all there. We're also on Twitch. So it's Critical Builds, all one word. It's CRITIQUALBUILDS.
Can you use that in a sentence?
Critical Builds. In a sentence, please watch Critical Builds. It's great. So those are the only real kind of links the places you can find me. There's Facebook as well, but we don't usually worry about that. So.
Yeah. No one uses Facebook these days. Anyways, I transitioned to like Facebook. Maybe Tim. I don't know. Any last words for our audience tonight? Like that have watched you since the beginning, 4 almost hours, guy.
4 hours. First of all, thank you guys for watching. I know my face for 4 hours was complete hell and torture. I really appreciate the fact that you guys stayed this whole time and watched and for the tribe over here. Thank you guys. I know you guys were trying to get me to break this whole night, so you did succeed a few times.
There were a lot of close ones there. I was wondering that. Very close.
Yeah, there were a lot of they were trying to bring up past traumas and stuff like that, so I knew what they were doing. Yeah, I really appreciate it, and thank you guys, and I hope you guys continue to follow me in this weird ass journey of a hobby, and hopefully we will meet each other down the road again someday physically.
All right. Wow. Oh, Chris, we're going to say goodbye for you now, but stay on the line. I want to chat with you after the show. I just want to send off these guys. Amazing story. Again, Pabs, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a long time coming, and I really am glad we did it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. 4 hours.
That's nothing. It felt like 2 on my end. I'm sober. I should have totally busted out the freaking beers or something. I don't know. All right. Anyways, well, say bye to the fans, and we'll sign you off, man.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye, Chris. All right, and that is it, guys. Holy cow! Almost 4 hours on the clock. I think that is a new record. Amazing story here with Chris Pabs and his journey, as well as a lot of tips, tricks, schlongs. I don't know where we went on that. Cannons, that's as they call it. Don't forget to check him out on his social medias. All of that information is in the link below, guys. This Monday coming up, we have a new backlog builder. We're still connecting and putting together the MGEX unicorn, so I'm going to be working on that Monday, most likely Wednesday if we don't finish it. But yeah, it's a fun build, so please stay tuned to that. Tuesdays, we will have a Twitch stream back on that. That's going to be our drawing and creative design kind of break from backlog building. And Thursday, dropping a new episode 0. It's kind of like a pilot project that's gonna be dropping on Thursday. More info on that to come. Don't forget, guys, this show is sponsored by and powered by USA Gundam Store. Check them out, guys, usagundamstore.com, and save with my discount code AOMECA10. As well as AOMECA is partnered with Gun Primer. Check them out as well, gunprimer.com, and save when you use my discount code as well, AOMECA10. Shout out to everybody on the Twitch feed and in the YouTube feed, guys. Thank you so much. Big shout out to the tribe, the big guys here. We got Tim, we got Manny, we got Z, we got Tex, we got Freddy. Oh my god, who else do we got here? Lots of people. John Lynn is here. I'm just trying to scroll up. Miguel, Julio, Kyle H, Char's Apprentice. Oh, how far can I get back here? Come on, keep going. Let's see here. Angel is here as well. How far back? Oh my god, so many chats. It was amazing. And over here at Twitch, guys, Mecha Skyfish, thank you so much. We have Carbon Dobbs joining and following the channel. Thank you so much for that. Hero, thank you so much. And guys, all the love and support from you guys is very, very appreciated. Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are keeping well, keeping safe. Until next time, take care. See you then. Bye.